Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to What? A show where sometimes I forget what I'm talking about and we just watch videos. Whatever works. This is Izzy. You say good morning. She is being super cuddly today. So good morning, Warren. Thank you for showing up. Hi, Holly. Hi, Dolores. Good, you got the notification. Awesome. I'm thinking maybe if I start like putting up the post for the show, like through StreamYard the night before, the notification might come, because I think last week during like the last couple of days of the week I was so exhausted from working the night before on all this, like the day of stuff, the post-production stuff, that like by the end of the night I completely forget to set up a live stream for the next morning. And so by like 9:30 that morning my time, like 30 minutes before we go live, I like, oh my gosh, I gotta set up a live. Like I'm like sitting here getting ready to go live and I don't even have a live set up. So I think that's what it is I was setting it up too soon or too close to the starting time instead of doing it the night before. So hopefully that works. We will see. So great news. Just got the email this morning. We are officially on Rockfin. We are not live streaming there yet because I just got the confirmation this morning. And I did hear something about if you're wanting to upload something from there, you have to pay them until you have 100 subscribers. So I'm a little worried about having to pay to get onto upload videos. So I'm hoping maybe this week we can try to spend our time at KRTD trying to get us to 100 subscribers. That way we can just start live streaming from there and not have to worry about it. I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to Warren and see what he can figure out on helping me with that whole situation, because I'm totally lost when it comes to cryptocurrency and paying to upload. But we're officially on there, so I'm really, really stoked. I'm super happy about that. So that's really, really cool. What else is going on? I just got excited about Rockfin this morning. Yeah, thank you, Warren. Yes, there it is right there. So if you want to head over to there really quick on Rockfin and give us a subscribe or a follow, I don't know how that works over there yet. You shouldn't have to pay for uploading videos or anything really. Okay. So they were saying something, I was asked something about having to save, or whatever money you get on there, they save like a little bit of it. So that way you can pay to upload videos. It's so confusing. I'm just happy we're there. So we'll figure it out at some point. Maybe today, I can try to figure it out. So we'll see. Okay. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. See if we can figure it out. What's happened this weekend? Not too much. Just stayed at home, relaxed a lot. Last week was wild for me. My first full week. So I was exhausted. We got some really good thunder and lightning storms. I think the weather changed this week officially around here. So I'm starting to feel like a flu or a cold or some kind of thing, like some kind of nasally congestion-y kind of feeling. So thank goodness for weather change. You got to love that. Okay, they take a portion of your tips that goes towards RAE tokens. Yeah, see, I have no idea what the hell that is. No clue. I have no clue. I'm so lost. I'll figure it out though. Yeah, definitely. I'll just spend this week trying to figure out what to do, because I just spent 2 weeks just trying to get on there as a content creator. So now's the next steps, along with learning how to do like a website building. So that's going to be fun. I mean, I kind of know how to do website building through like Wixsite and stuff like that, but we definitely need our website updated for sure. So I'm going to see what I can do about getting into our sites and try to get into the back rooms and try to update our websites. So that way you can like click on our social media from our website if you wanted to, which you can't. So very outdated. Definitely have to hook that up. So that's what we're going to be doing over here at KRTD this week, is try to get our website updated and fixed up and stuff. And so I can't wait to do that. I'm like literally going to teach myself how to become an IT guy this week. So that's going to be fun. Thank you, Holly. Yes, I am definitely trying to take care of myself. I'm just having so much fun with all of this. Oh, this is coffee, just regular coffee in my Yoda cup. Um, this is like the perfect color for my coffee. So if anyone ever wants to know how I take my coffee, like that. Little bit of sugar and lots of Coffee Mate hazelnut flavor. I love hazelnut. It's like my favorite. Okay, get with me later today and can set things up for you. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to do it. I was thinking about just watching like some YouTube videos or something on how to work Rockfin. I don't know. I was trying to figure it out because they send you really like, step-by-step stuff, like with the wallet thing, the little download thing, and then all the links they send you after you're accepted to like go through everything. Just I haven't gone through any of it yet, so we will see. So today, I want to thank Amber. She found so many really cool things this weekend for me to talk about. And if we have time at the end, I'm going to talk about one more. Why are you doing it? Okay, it's my computer being weird, right? Please tell me. Yeah, that's my computer. Okay, cool. But she got a couple of things for me, and if we have extra time at the end, I was just watching it, a video that she had sent me, and it seemed really good, so we might watch that at the end too. The things that we're going to talk about today, a man saved some people or saved a person. The cops gave him like a little medal of honor, and he went up on the podium and pretty much just bashed the cops and said that riots work, which was really cool. So we'll watch that. A video called No Such Thing as Good Billionaires, which is a cool little video. We're going to learn about how billionaires work. I think it's from the Adam Ruins Everything guy. So I thought that was really interesting. We can watch that. Stockton serial killer update, which is going to be really interesting. Apparently they found him and arrested him. A lot of local tips helped them find the guy. They found him one morning. They were following him and figuring out what he was doing. Apparently he was on the hunt that morning, and they were able to arrest him before anybody else was hurt. Definitely reminding me of the Son of Sam serial killer from back in the day, where he used to drive around, park his car, and then walk around, and anybody that was sitting in their car, pretty much that's where he's different. People that were sitting in the car, he would just shoot them and kill them. This guy, he would drive around, walk around with his gun, find homeless encampments or people just walking around by themselves that looked a certain way, specifically Hispanic males. He would shoot them. So a little bit of a similarity with the Son of Sam serial killer from our history, but definitely in his own certain way. But he has been arrested, so we will watch some videos on that. The ones that Amber sent me, which I thought was really interesting and that we can look into. So in the UK, there's 2 crime stories that are going on right now that were very interesting. One of them is an angel of death. It is a neonatal nurse. She works in the NICU with children, babies, premature babies, twins, things like that. She's charged with killing 7 of them. A couple of them were twins. And then after that, in the same video following suit, there'll be a story about a 21-year-old girl who was arrested. She kidnapped, she went on a Tinder date. This woman went on a Tinder date with a 21-year-old guy. She kidnapped him, held him hostage, stabbed him multiple times. And while she was doing all of that, she decided to take a break and order from Grubhub. So very interesting about that one. And then the last one she sent me, so this yesterday, an Air Force Base daycare workers were charged with crazy abuse. It literally sounds like this Air Force Base daycare was treating these children like they were in military themselves, pepper spray, things like that. So we'll be learning about that. Lots of bad things that are going on today, or that happened this weekend. Oh yeah, and then the last one, sorry. I totally forgot about this one. So the last one, this weekend, there is a girl on Twitch. Her name is Amouranth. Technically she is a porn star. She does, I think she was one of the women that started like the hot tub streaming stuff. Definitely makes a buttload of money doing not only Twitch but OnlyFans as well. She got into an argument with her husband this weekend, and decided while she was live streaming, and he was yelling at her, him not realizing that she was live streaming, thought that she had stepped away from her live stream, decided to start yelling at her, and so she secretly decided to push the unmute button on her microphone and let the world hear how he treated her. Then she followed with a bunch of more videos with screenshots and video of what text messages are from this guy. So we are finding out that she definitely has living in a very abusive relationship, marriage, verbally, definitely. He threatened to kill her animals. He was spending all of her money, like just giving away her money. Like every time that she wouldn't text him back, he would text her like $500,000 are going to go if you don't text me back. And then he, like, the next message, $500,000 are gone. And then 250,000, just kept going and going and going with money, spending it. And then he threatened to send her horses to a meat packing place. He's just really, really verbally abusive, lots of gaslighting. So we'll be checking that out. Maybe if we have a little bit of time, we'll check out to see the rudeness of Twitter and how they treated her, especially like someone like Keemstar. He definitely was he just took it at a wrong angle. That whole situation happened. And when Keemstar made a tweet about it and some video about it, his whole thing was, she's been married this whole time. She completely lied to us. We've all been spending our money on her. How do we get our money back? Like, she literally is in a vulnerable position, putting her abuse out there to try to get some kind of help. And you're just going to go out there and talk about how much you're pissed off that you wasted your money on her because she is married. So we'll be talking about that, the contradictions of sex work, and how the whole lifestyle of the sex industry is to always appear single but never be single. And we'll maybe get into some more details about that later. So that's what we're doing with that today. Good morning, Shane. Good to see you. If you heard this morning, I got the email. We are officially on Rockfin, so we are going to figure all that out this week, as well as our website building. So we'll be doing all of that this week. So good to see you. Good morning, good afternoon. You're on East Coast. So let's get started. All right, let me pull this up. Come on, kitty. Cat. What are you doing? He's like halfway falling off of me. Come on, dude. Just chill, you big floof ball. All right. So here's the video. This is just a Clip Nation adding that they added captions, so that way we can watch the captions. But this person, Awkward, posted this greatest thing he's ever seen. So here is the video.
It is my great pleasure to present you with the Chiefs Award for Valor in recognition for your heroic efforts. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I feel like I did what anyone would have done with the little bit of training that they have, that I have.
You gotta love him taking off his sweatshirt to show what real shirt he wanted to show to the public, which is smash white supremacy. At first, I'm like, kids say the word smash when they want to fuck something, right? Like sexually, like it's like a sexual thing, but I get it. He's like, a little bit of gray on his beard. So I get it. Like, smash this white supremacy, like get rid of it. But I saw that this weekend, and I'm like, kids are going to think that you want to like bang it.
I'm a certified firearms instructor. I work in this high school in Minneapolis. I'm a dad and a husband and a wonderful community member. That day, 9 of your squad cars raced past us as I was flagging them down. It said in the letter you sent me. And that was a potential of 18 people. 18 people could have stopped to help preserve life. But 18 people chose to go to a potential threat. And I recognized the man had a pistol and we didn't know what he was doing. I do appreciate the recognition, but I won't keep this stuff. This will go to my mom and this will probably go to my son because I'm very uncomfortable being here with you guys. I do not rock with the police.
I love that part. I do not rock with the police. I loved that about when he said that. I totally agree.
But I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say these things. And I just want folks to know that they don't keep us safe. We keep us safe. Riots work.
Good for him for saying that. I love how he all right, I got nothing else to say. What can I say that's going to make a really, really, really big impact and make a statement? And then he just hits his chest like riots work. Yes, yes. I love it. I think that's great. I mean, he's a professional firearms instructor. He works at a school. He's got children and a family. And he's out there saying like, police didn't help me. Fucking riots work. It was really cool.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Alex.
Can I take this with me? Thank you. Y'all be safe out here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's so funny. And then there was like a part in there too, like there where he's like putting the badge of honor. Yeah. See, he didn't he couldn't even put it on him, so he's like, just give it to me. And he's like, I'll put it on myself. I thought that was really, really cool. Let's see what some people some of this stuff doesn't even make sense. Let's see what other people are saying today. Abolition is not about anarchy or absence of accountability. As Ruth Wilson Gilmore said, it's about the presence of life-affirming institutions. We decrime victimless crimes and hold perpetrators of true crimes truly accountable to the people and communities they've harmed. Okay. Honored a man for valor. He later spoke up. Doctor said that the man's aid to a shooting victim prevented him from dying, according to the St. Paul police. Let's open up what this thing says and read about it. I'm sorry. Whew. This sickness is going to ruin me. All right, so let's read this. Good morning, Go Start. Good to see you. Yes, good vibes. How are you today? Let's see. A Minnesota police department celebrated a man's heroic act to save a man this week. However, the ceremony quickly backfired when he pointed out departmental inaction during the ceremony. St. Paul Interim Police Chief Jeremy Ellison welcomed Alex Mingus with the Police Chief's Award for Valor. Minnesota's on-site public media reported Mingus was driving with his wife to work when he heard gunshots and followed a red van that left at a high rate of speed from the shooting. The van later stopped and a man who was bleeding profusely exited the vehicle and asked for help, according to Ellison. Ellison said Mingus wrapped a shirt around the shooting victim's arm to try to slow the bleeding. An artery in the victim's wrist had been severely damaged by a bullet. Doctors stated that the aid provided by Alex prevented this man from dying. Mingus, who said he is a certified firearms instructor, later was given an opportunity to speak and removed his sweatshirt to reveal the Smash White Supremacy t-shirt. He alleged that 9 squad cars raced past him as he tried to flag them down. That was a potential of 18 people. We heard that part. He later claimed that he didn't rock with the police and officers don't keep us safe. We keep us safe. So here's the video that we just watched. St. Paul Police Department did not immediately respond to the Huffington Post request for a comment. See, this article originally appeared on Huffington Post and has been updated. Let's see what this says. Ooh, lady, get it. All right. We followed that part. Lady. Nope, hasn't been updated. Okay. Boo. I want to know if the police have said anything. That would be so funny to see if like the police like still kept their cool about it or whatever, said like what could they possibly say? I don't know. He did a good job. Thank you for doing that. That's the only thing I can think of. They'll probably charge him with inciting a riot. This person says technically they can't do that because they recognized him and said thank you right after. Very true. Smash white supremacy. Love that the police chief was forced into a fist bump after smash white supremacy shirt wearing Alex gave his riots work speech. Go old women seeking justice. The police chief did exactly what he should have done. Oh God, that looks like a police supporter. What's the backstory? He stopped a crime because the cops don't. This was indeed great, and I thank you for it. Majority of homicides in Pennsylvania are of blacks. Ask the black neighborhoods what they want. It's not more police. Oh, wow. Riots work. They absolutely do. 11 riots that changed U.S. history for the better. Interesting. By Medium. Let's see, the Haymarket riot in 1886. Here, let me bring this up a little bit so you guys can see. So even this is the most famous labor riot in U.S. history. It started as a protest by workers for the 8-hour workday, but turned into a riot after an unknown assailant threw a dynamite bomb at police. Even though the police and politicians increased the repression of workers after the incident, the Haymarket riot led to significant development in organized labor movement. Furthermore, some U.S. congressmen began to rally to the workers' cause. So the riot ended up being an important milestone in the ultimately victorious fight for the 8-hour workday. Definitely changed history, getting rid of slave hours and probably child labor laws. So the Birmingham riot of 1963 was a reaction to white supremacist bombing of black churches in Alabama, in which 4 young black girls were killed. Following this, black protesters reacted so strongly against local police that the federal government sent in the army, the first time they had ever done so against black civil rights protesters. According to Nicholas Bryan, a historian of President Kennedy, the riot was turning point in Kennedy's mind about black civil rights. He now realized how urgent the situation was and was more willing to negotiate with moderates such as MLK. In turn, the riot was instrumental in creating the landmark 1964 Civil Rights Act, even though they don't really have very many rights still. It's crazy. Harlem riot of 1964. This began after the police killing of James Powell, a black teenager in Harlem. The rebellion lasted for 6 consecutive nights and caused $1 million worth of property damage. However, the riot also encouraged President Lyndon Johnson to create Project Uplift, a social program designed to reduce poverty among black youth in Harlem. The project was designed with specific aim of avoiding further riots in the area. So it wasn't actually brought in to help people. It's just wanting to avoid further riots. So the Division Street riots in 1966, this was in Puerto Rico. Wow, this was the first Puerto Rican riot in U.S. history. It occurred in Chicago, where Puerto Rican residents were impoverished and frequently discriminated against in housing and by police. And the situation boiled over into a riot when police began harassing the attendants of a Puerto Rican ethnic Pride March on Division Street. The riot helped to galvanize and empower the community, leading to the creation of several Puerto Rican organizations, as well as the school and cultural centers. As a result, Puerto Rican activists were able to push for civil rights improvements in Chicago throughout the following decades. And they still don't have rights. Puerto Rican is still a colonized country for us, so they can't vote, which sucks. We learned about that with the whole what was it? Jesus Christ, why am I blanking on Philippines last week? That's what it was. So the long hot summer of 1967, man, 60s was just full of riots. Rather than just one riot, the long hot summer was 164 riots in the cities across the U.S. It was a reaction to the disappointments of Black Americans across the country as the federal civil rights improvements of the preceding decade had failed to liberate them from police brutality and poverty. The massive scale of the rebellion shook the U.S. political establishment to the core. As such, President Johnson set up the Kerner Commission to investigate its causes. The Kerner report concluded that white racism and systemic discrimination was to blame for the riots, and this view was accepted by the political establishment. Unfortunately, the president failed to act on the report, but the fact that the establishment was led to accept the reality of ongoing racial discrimination was a huge achievement in itself, given the open segregation that still prevailed in much of it. The King assassination riots. However, the riots that swept the country after MLK's assassination actually led to some major improvements in civil rights. Before the riots, the U.S. Congress had stalled on passing Fair Housing Act, which was designed to prevent racial and other forms of discrimination in housing. After the riots, the U.S. congressmen quickly changed their mind on the act and passed it as part of the Civil Rights Act of 1968. There's still discrimination in housing. There's videos out there all over the place where a white person goes and looks at this house and it's this certain amount of money. But this Black couple goes and looks at the same house and it's way more than what the white couple was offered. So definitely still discrimination in housing. So possible more riots, not sure, hopefully. Stonewall, 1969. This began when the police raided Stonewall, the LGBTQ bar. This is pretty much the start of Pride Month, how it pretty much got started. According to historians, these events led to the galvanizing of the LGBTQ plus rights movement. After Stonewall, many new sexual and gender rights groups were formed, and these groups went on to achieve the decriminalization of same-gender relationships in the U.S. The Stonewall Inn is now a federally designated national monument in honor of the historical significance of the riots there. Yes, that is very true. But these groups are still trying to achieve decriminalization of same gender. I mean, it is decriminalized. You are allowed to marry who you want to, but there's still like the people out there that won't accept it and are still trying to fight against that. So we're still having to deal with a type of that. So the Attica prison riots, inmates endured awful conditions. That sounds about normal. Sounds about white. The prison was overcrowded and each inmate was only allowed one shower per week and one roll of toilet paper per month. In September 1971, prisoners refused to accept this treatment and rebelled, seizing control of the prison. Sadly, the siege ended in bloodshed as the state sent in armed police who immediately opened fire on the rebels, killing 29 inmates. However, the riots sparked the largest national conversation about prisoners' rights in U.S. history. While prisoners' rights activists were already starting to make gains in the 1960s, the Attica Rebellion massively increased the visibility of their struggle. Many, but not all, of the rebels' demands were subsequently implemented. Not all of them, not even any of the good ones. There's still horrible treatment in prison systems. It's just absolutely horrible. It's so bad. So the battle in Seattle. Interesting. 1999, this riot erupted at the World Trade Organization conference in Seattle, Washington. The broad left activist organization involved had planned the event in advance, with an anarchist black bloc taking the lead on instigating the riot. Just as Occupy Wall Street put inequality on the agenda in 2011, the battle in Seattle put anti-globalization on the agenda in 1999. Since then, it has become a common populist political position in the US, advocated by Bernie Sanders, among others. Whether or not this constitutes a positive movement in US history in a matter of ideological perspectives, but certainly from a liberationist perspective, it is a positive. This fucking website like literally talks about like the lack of actual progress we've made from all these past ones, and they're like, they've done so much, like this is what these organizations did, and like you put in like one decent one in here and you're like, I don't know if this is positive or not. Like, come on, medium.com, you guys are a waste of time. The Cincinnati riots of 2001, throughout the decade previous, the combination of poverty and the police brutality of the Cincinnati, Ohio Police Department had led to high tensions. These boiled over after the police shooting of unarmed Black teenager Timothy Thomas in 2001. The riot was followed by a community boycott to pressure the city into taking action against the police department. We've been taking action against the police department for so long, and they still don't care. And indeed, under economic pressure from the damage caused by the riot, as well as the boycott, the city has implemented reforms in their police department. Come on! While police continue to kill Black teenagers in Cincinnati, the legal situation is incrementally changing due to the successes of the movement for Black lives and its. Oh, wow, they're like, it's getting better. I mean, they still continue to kill Black teenagers, so no, it didn't do anything. It didn't help. It probably changed history and the way we look at things in the cultural perspective. But man, if this right here just doesn't prove that we keep trying, man. Us people just keep trying and trying and trying. And these mofos just don't ever care. But then they write about it, the fluff pieces of, we did so much to help. So you got the Ferguson riots. Conservatives and moderates might find this hard to accept this today. But the Ferguson riots, following the police killing of an unarmed Black man, Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, has already had several positive results, despite the outrageous efforts of the Ferguson Police Department to prevent news media from entering the city. Despite the outrageous efforts of the Ferguson Police Department to prevent news media from entering the city during the riots, the events were broadcast on live TV around the entire world. Moreover, Black Lives Matter movement, which later became the Movement for Black Lives, shot to international fame due to the riots, raising awareness about ongoing police brutality against Black Americans. Governments and police departments across the U.S. have even rather reluctant to take strong action to end the systemic killings of Black Americans yet, but the Ferguson riots has helped to shift the entire U.S. political discourse towards its cause and towards related problems such as mass incarceration. Same with George Floyd, too. That was a huge change in a lot of our minds. As the 2020 Minneapolis riots now shows, the battle is far from over, but as the examples show, we should not underestimate the potential strategic and historical value of rioting. Absolutely. And that's why this guy said riots work. Here is 11 riots that change history for the better. I don't think it's actually changed us, especially when it comes to like creating laws, things like that. But definitely the cultural ideology of all of this has extremely, definitely changed. Oh my God, did I not have it open the whole time? I'm great. So let's bring this back up and we'll see what else they have in here. That is truly a brave man. We updated his tweet. Okay, some more captions. Let's see. Everybody's like, where's the captions? God, you people are just so... I don't even know what to say. This dude is incredible. Saw it last night and will catch it daily as my personal happy place. This is how you use your platform for good. Absolutely. And I think it's about it. I mean, he did really, really well. And I mean, he definitely went viral this weekend over this. It was really good to see. I think it's just because of everything, it was almost like the perfect storm for this whole situation. It's this man's getting an honorary award, a little medal. The police are thanking him for doing a good job, but then like when he gets on there, he's a firearm instructor, he works in a school, he's got a family, all that stuff that like is like, these are the things that would make me these are the things that would make me seem like I work really well with the police. I support the police, just that kind of saying. And then ripping off his shirt or pulling off his sweater to show this shirt, and then talking about how the police didn't help him and that riots work. It was just really cool to see like that whole flip the switch, because you're supposed to, people assume you're this way because of the things that you were saying at the beginning, but then you go off and you tell them, this is actually what really happened, and this is my perspective on it. And people are going to listen, because it's like the people that you wouldn't expect to sit there and listen to somebody like him would listen to him. And then they have to hear that, which was really, really cool. So I thought that was really neat. Really cool story. Definitely got its viralness this weekend for it. So good morning, John. Good to see you. And good morning, Amber. I got like all of your clips that you sent me this weekend. They're like all up. I'm ready to go. I'm just taking all of them. So that's what I'm doing today is I've taken all of your articles and I'm going to be talking about them. So the next one I want to get into some more news really quick. So last week we were talking about the Stockton serial killer, looking at some of, why am I getting, oh, you know what? I keep forgetting that I'm like on the KRTD's thing. Okay. Last week we were talking about the Stockton serial killer, showing some TikToks about him, talking about how that it's a possibility he was from a different state and that he came over here to do this. Definitely notice his walk was very awkward. Just kind of keeping you guys updated on it. So here's some more updates. Looks like the suspect as the Stockton serial killer has been caught. Like I was saying earlier, it definitely reminds me of kind of the Son of Sam type of murders, where he would just park his car somewhere, take his gun, go for a walk, find somebody, and that's who he would murder. The only like the little difference is like Son of Sam went to the people, went and shot people that were in cars. This man went and shot people who were homeless, mainly of the Hispanic male descent. So they're saying that they arrested him. I say this is great. My only question is, well, let's watch this really quick and then we'll talk about it.
Tonight.
Sorry, I need to like share it
Brownlee
first, right? Man, this sickness is like making me just, I am not here today. Okay, let's rewatch this.
Night, neighbors breathing a sigh of relief after hearing the suspected Stockton serial killer has been arrested.
Does it make you feel a little more at ease at home?
I'm at ease. Yeah, I'm at ease. Yes, I am. Because I wasn't going out by myself.
43-year-old Wesley Brownlee is booked on suspicion of at least one murder and assorted weapons offenses in the San Joaquin County Jail, held without bail. When taken into custody, police said he was wearing dark clothing, a mask around his neck, and was carrying a gun.
Law enforcement says the suspect's pattern of preying started in his car before he stalked his victims on foot. Police followed this exact path. They arrested him right here at 2 a.m. on Saturday. They said he was on a mission to kill, just blocks from where some of the attacks took place.
Yeah, so that's what he's getting ready to say, and we'll watch it as well. Thanks, Warren. I know. It's just nostrily and nasally, nothing else. I don't feel like the physicalities of being sick, but definitely I got the nose part. My nose is like all red yesterday because I don't have like tissue or anything, so I've been using paper towels, and my nose is just hating it, but whatever. It is what it is. So thank you, Warren. So yeah, this cop, what he's about to say is that they were following him. They got their tips. And apparently this man was supposed to be on the hunt right then and there. And what I was thinking when I heard that part was that, at least in my opinion, what I think happened in his head is that, all the news coverage came all over him. He probably felt like he was being watched a little too closely. And now he probably thought that, a lot of the eyes have kind of, dulled down. Nobody's really watching him anymore. And he's a little bit more safe to go and do this. We don't know the motivations. Hopefully he speaks. So, yeah.
He was out hunting. We are sure we stopped another killing.
According to public records, Brownlee has a criminal history across California and Arizona, connected to past drug and traffic violations and a DUI. Most of the victims were Latino men, several of them homeless. But officials say there's no evidence the killings were race-based or targeted.
I was here at work and got a call from my nephew. He told me that Paul had been shot multiple times and that he died in the hospital.
Greta Bogro is the mother of Paul Alexander Yaw, who was killed in July. Does this bring any closure for you?
Yes and no. I'm just grateful that they were able to save it from happening to another person and another family having to go through what we've gone through. It's just been horrific.
Police today examining ballistic evidence from this 9mm handgun found in the suspect's car.
You don't come to our house and bring this kind.
It's crazy to hear like that lady saying, that they're just glad that they found him and so that he can't do this to anyone else, because it's really hard to deal with situations like that. And it's so hard to hear that as a parent, because when especially as women, I have to admit, us women, we have a little bit of an obsession with watching true crime stories. Definitely. I don't blame us for it. Definitely have to watch our backs everywhere we go. So it's kind of good to be able to watch those things to know what to expect in case it happens. It's always about the, well, what if it happens. But it's really hard to fathom, especially living in 2022 and watching these crime stories, a lot of these like serial killer stories and things like that. Even with the whole huge obsession with Jeffrey Dahmer right now, this all happened, 50 years ago, 40 years ago. So when you hear about serial killers, you think, oh, this is just something from the past. It could still happen nowadays. Obviously, anything can happen. It's just the whole serial killer part, is like where you think, oh, this is like from the past. It probably doesn't happen anymore now. And seeing that it happened and having your own kid be a part of something like that in the nowadays is mind-boggling to me, especially as a white mom who definitely watches crime stuff. So it's very scary, absolutely horrifying to even see a man still being able to pretty much, do the same thing as like what we watch on our true crime stuff. So, and that it's still going strong, and in California too, it's just wild to notice. Good morning. Willie, good to see you. Everybody go check out the Willie Bragg show. Oh, he's saying good hi to Warren. That's my Warren. You can't have him. Sorry. Mine. Ha. Okay, let's finish watching this.
Kind of reign of terror.
The district attorney promising to bring justice for victims' families who are aching for accountability.
And Maura joins us now from Stockton. Have police indicated any motive, Maura?
That's still unclear. The DA's office telling me there's still no official decision on charges yet either, though that ballistic evidence will help determine that. They tell me they expect to get that report back before the suspect is arraigned on Tuesday. Kate?
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
No, Lester, not allowed to do that today. Not allowed. All right, and then let's watch, I think there's a second video. Yeah. There we go. This is more of a local station, a local news station for it. Hi, Willie. I'm just giving you shit, I promise. You're on YouTube, right? That's I think where I follow you is on YouTube. So everybody go check out Willie Bragg Show. Let me put this on the stream. There we go. Okay. Here is the second one.
Individuals no longer on the streets and can no longer hurt anybody.
Tonight, Stockton residents feeling some relief after an arrest was made this weekend in the city's string of connected killings. There was a $125,000 cash reward for tips leading to an arrest. And today, police tell us there will be a payout because of the community's effort in helping them solve this case.
KCRA 3's Lizzie Mitri spoke with police today. And Lizzie, what did they have to say?
Andrea, police didn't say yet if it would be one person or maybe multiple people who might get some of that reward money for their helpful tips, but they say they got a huge response from the community after opening up that tip line, and they say it worked, leading them here, making an arrest on their suspect. There's a sense of relief today for those who live near Pinella Park in Stockton.
I'm just happy that it's a little bit safe now.
Here near Village Green Drive and Winslow Way, Stockton police say they arrested 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee yesterday for murder, accusing him in a string of deadly shootings that had people waiting and wondering for weeks.
On edge and scared.
During that time, Carolyn Hopkins says she made sure not to be out at night alone when police say the killer would strike, catching people by surprise. In some cases, they were unhoused.
That was so frightening. There's so many people that sleep in this park, either in their cars or in tents or just in the park.
Around the corner, Brenda Odom also lives close to where police arrested Brownlee with a gun on him, as they say he was on the hunt for his next victim.
It's just a very scary feeling, you know, to know that he was that close to us.
Police say community tips helped them identify Brownlee as their suspect. They say they got an average of 100 a day since launching a tip line a couple weeks ago. Others took matters into their own hands. A private Facebook group popped up where people shared information in hopes of putting an end to the deadly shootings.
I'm so thankful to God that he was caught. So whoever the tipster was and the Stockton PD, I love them. They did it.
But she hasn't forgotten the victims. One woman hurt in a shooting and 6 men killed.
I feel so bad for the families that lost a loved one. And, you know, my heart just go out to them.
Police say Brownlee had a gun in his waistband when they arrested him here, and they say they're still investigating if that was the same gun used in the deadly shootings that he's accused in. They also did not tell us.
So that's, I guess, the area where they found him, definitely at a park where you can see right here in the back, there's a tent right there. So the homeless people definitely stay there. Also, what really scary is probably kids go to this park as well, too. So definitely scary for this area. I couldn't imagine having to live like that again. I do remember like my mom telling me stories of the 80s of, I think it was the Night Stalker. He was going around in LA County, going into people's houses and stuff and murdering people in their houses. And so I remember my mom saying she was absolutely terrified at the time. I believe it was in 1985 in like the spring, summertime. So it was around the time that my mom was pregnant with me. I was born in like the summer of 85. So definitely around the time of the of that guy. So it's really interesting to hear a story from your mother from the past and then having like the same kind of hearing the same repeated feeling from these people nowadays while I'm a grown up. So it's wild to me. It's good that they found him. We'll see. Nobody has said anything about it. That's one thing that I didn't understand about the whole thing is like, are we going to see the way he walks? Like, did you say, you know, but I think the whole, like the way he walks and stuff was all like all of us Twitter or TikTok, you know, gossip community. So we'll see. I mean, maybe that kind of tip helped. You never know. The guy did get pretty viral online about that. So, and a lot of people are looking up the Stockton serial killer stuff. So that was very, very interesting. We'll watch some more about some more interesting news about true crime, but this one is in, I believe it's the UK, right? Amber, is it the UK is where this happens, I believe? It's so the page or the YouTube channel is called True Crime Daily. Here, let me share it with you guys. Okay. So True Crime Daily is them right here. And it says this week on True Crime Daily, a neonatal nurse accused of killing 7 newborns and attempting to kill 10 more. Plus, the second story we're going to watch is a woman charged with luring a man on a dating app before kidnapping him and then stabbing him. So this is some UK true crime news. Oh, here, while this is still up. So Willie Bragg Show, you guys, just look up literally like Willie Bragg Show on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Definitely going to go check you out on Twitch because I love Twitch. So Twitch is really fun to go hang out at. So I will find you after this show, and I will go give you a follow over there too. So definitely go check him out over there. Oh, is that what he does on his show? That's hot. Okay, let's watch this. Wait, why is this so long? Good lordy. All right, we might watch this in like super speed. Let's start at 1.5 speed.
A word of warning. This podcast explores graphic and disturbing stories and includes some strong language. It therefore may not be suitable for our young listeners or other folks who may find it disturbing. Hello and welcome to True Crime Daily, the podcast covering high profile and under the radar cases. Also are an expert in the area of gender and crime. But the mom didn't know what she was seeing. The mother thought that she saw a nurse tending to her baby, but that is not at all what happened. She's pleaded not guilty to murdering 5 baby boys, 2 baby girls at the Countess of Chester Hospital. She faces 22 charges for 17 victims. So, Dr. Davies, one of the huge problems with this case, because the cases go back, to 2015, was figuring out why these babies were dying. All of a sudden, the numbers spiked at the hospital. So what is it about this type of a crime, this type of a murder, that makes it so difficult for authorities to not only investigate, but come up with enough evidence?
I think part of it is, if we think about it, people do die in the hospital. We do have emergencies that happen in the hospital. But I think part of it is just pulling it together and realizing something's happened. I think had she been killing, let's say, older people or COVID patients, it might have even taken longer to have found her to be the person doing this, because we might not have thought this is unusual, because these are newborn babies. I think they were really looking into it maybe more closely than they would be. They were more suspect, even if it was a neonatal unit. I think that was part of it.
Interesting.
So cool. If you guys check out, really quick side note, you see that microphone right there? That's so badass. I have the same one. It's not, I got to find a better cord because the cord I have is too short. But look, I got the same fucking one. Bitch. Look at that. Me and her can be twinsies. Just do it like that. I don't know how you hold these things. Oh yeah, she's got that on that side, so it'd be like that. Hey. Oh, hers is wider though. Girthier. I just saw the microphone and I just like looked up behind my computer. I was like, oh God. Remind me I need to find a cord for that damn thing.
And the way that she did it, that she's alleged to have done it, is that it then manifests in a medical fashion in which you can find an answer and say, oh, well, the child was in distress, the lungs were in distress, there was an issue losing blood, these kinds of things. But for the most part, even though these babies were vulnerable, that's why they were in the neonatal unit, and many of them were twins. She had a thing for twins. What is that about, doctor?
I don't know. I think you make an excellent point. And my understanding is that she took different ways to do it. And in case maybe it was putting oxygen in the bloodstream and by using different methods, that would also make it difficult because there was a clear pattern. Even though they were all happening in this one place, different methods would make you think it can't be something that somebody's doing. It's just all these individual cases that we have these horrible tragedies.
Right. So she wasn't doing the same kind of repetitive crime. She wasn't doing the same thing over and over to each different baby. She was doing something different to them. My only question about that whole situation is why were they looking at what nurse was in charge of each of those babies each time? And maybe they could have. I mean, I guess, just 7 seems a lot to happen, to have that happen to, especially with twins. If that woman is always on the job when it happens, you know, she doesn't have to be specifically assigned to those babies, but she's on the job. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too condescending, but yes, they're Yetis. They're very good mics. I just got to find the cord or get a new cord for it because I let my nephew use it, and I knew he was going to do some stuff to it because, you know, he plays like horror video games and he's autistic and he needed a microphone. So I knew he was going to bang it around and do some stuff. So I just got to find the cord. He lost it. That's all I have to do is just find the cord or get a new one. It's just hard to find those kind of cords because the plugin is like an old Android plugin, like not the ones we have from before now, but the ones before those ones. They're very old.
And the other pattern that authorities found were, you know, because obviously neonatal units are very secure. You know, you can't just go in there. There's a lot of monitoring of who's in and out. And they started to find the one common denominator, and it was Nurse Lucy. The other pattern that they saw was she moved to days, like, you know, because they work around the clock. She works a day shift, babies are dying in the day. She works a night shift, babies are dying. So it almost was like whatever shift she worked on, then that's when these deaths would occur. And what comes
Okay,
down
so
to
then they definitely noticed it was her being on the job. Wow, it took seven babies to pass for them to finally figure it out. I mean, either there's a lot of trust, people are letting their guards down around there. I guess when you're in an environment like that for a long time, you tend to trust each other because you have to, because you're dealing with very vulnerable babies. It's just really wild. 7 of them had to go before people really took a notice, you know, like, oh, okay, this is what's happening.
is when she went after the twins. We have a few of those. We're going to get into it. She allegedly kills. She's responsible for the death of one twin, and then like within 24 hours, she's killing the other twin. I can't even imagine the horror of these parents.
No. And it seems like she was so brazen in doing it, to be doing it and having a parent walk in. It's just, and we often say this, what was she thinking? It's just, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. And it was the hospital itself, the medical staff, the doctors who were all of a sudden like, wait a minute, because they happened quickly, meaning one twin dies in 24 hours, the other twin dies of something else. It's not like it was one death occasionally where it'd be harder to find a pattern. So the spike happened very quickly and doctors were very worried. They started an investigation and they call the police. And that's how they start unraveling this. Sadly, they weren't able to get all of what I would say the kind of evidence that you would get through a coroner's or autopsy, because at the time with these little babies, it's so tragic. Again, initially they thought that there were other reasons why the babies were dying. So prosecutors have not released the identities of the babies or of their parents. So during the proceedings and the trial's going on now, we've got some updates for you. For the jurors and for everyone, the babies are referred to as baby A, baby C, baby C. None of this is done in a disrespectful way to the victims or the survivors. It is about protecting them and their parents. These families have been through enough. And so the courts and the prosecutors have decided that this is the best way. So I want you to know, all of you, that we honor these babies that we've lost, and we are not being disrespectful in how we refer to them. This is how the court is handling it, and this is their decision. So let's get to the first victim here. I'm getting so emotional. I'm so upset. There's nothing more exciting and beautiful than that little baby, you know, the hope of life, the hope of everything. Parents are so elated. They're so excited to meet the little baby that mothers have been carrying. It's like, oh, there you are. Now I can see what you look like. You know, it's like that moment. Oh, okay. So let's get to the first victim here. Baby A was a boy who was born with a twin sister. So sister is B. The two were born on June 8th of 2015. They were reportedly in good health, you know, breathing fine on their own, despite being born premature. So about 8:25 p.m., this is on that same day, baby A starts deteriorating rapidly. In less than an hour, this is within an hour of Nurse Lucy here taking over. A half hour later, by 9 o'clock, baby A was pronounced dead. Doctors concluded that the death was likely due to an injection of air into the child's umbilical catheter. You know, all these babies have a lot of catheters. They have tubes up their little noses. You know, it can be very jarring to a parent to see babies in the neonatal unit. So now baby A dies. Now, according to prosecutors, she goes after his sister. A day later, twin sister baby B suffers from a sudden drop in oxygen levels in her blood. Nurse Lucy allegedly administered a bag of liquid nutrition to the baby, even though she was not the designated nurse. This would have been my first red flag. What the heck are you doing caring for this baby? When baby B stopped breathing, the alarm sounded. These alarms sound when a patient is in a critical condition. So when baby B stopped breathing, that alarm sounded, warning doctors of the child's severe condition. Doctors were able to revive the child, and she ultimately survived the attack. It was later theorized it was medical sabotage, and the only reasonable explanation of her decline was an air bubble administered into her bloodstream. Isn't this crazy?
Yeah, I'm not
that is absolutely wild. So she was putting bubbles into the IVs of these children. There's a movie that showed me that a long time ago. I think it was like the second, like one of the maybe the Freddy Krueger movies. Somebody did that. I can't remember what exactly the movie is that they did that in, but I'm thinking it's one of the Freddy Krueger movies where they the doctor, the nurse, or something like injects air into the IV of somebody and then they die. I can't remember what movie that is, but definitely very movie-esque kind of situation. Wild.
Be a murderer, but sometimes you start to think, if you murdered one baby, why would you turn around and go after the twin? You would think you'd get caught. I mean, it just doesn't seem logical. But of course, this isn't logical. Somebody killing babies isn't logical.
And the fact that we're dealing with what police are calling a serial killer here, we don't usually find a lot of female serial killers. What do you make of this?
No, we don't. And most serial killers, in fact, most people who kill are men.
She's absolutely correct. Majority of serial killers are men, but when it comes to like angels of death, those tend to be women. When women do serial killings, it's usually nurses and angels of death.
Over the time period of modern history, about 12% of killers in the United States are women. And then if you go down to serial killers, very, very few are women. And sometimes the ones that are women are killing with men. And then others do tend to be angels of death, though, or taking advantage of people who are older. Maybe occasionally we'll find a woman who's killed several husbands over time, but not something like this where it's one after another after another. This is extremely rare.
And we don't have a clear motive here. Prosecutors have said they are dumbfounded. They cannot find a motive here. And I think when it comes to serial killers in the cases I've covered, there really isn't a motive. There is a true defect in these individuals.
Yeah, a lot of times they're sociopaths, or there's some other kind of mental disorder, or they're out to hurt people and they get pleasure from hurting people. And you just wonder what is this Nurse Lucy getting from this? I wouldn't be surprised to find out she was a sociopath. It's hard not to wonder about her upbringing, but we can't. It's not always parents. It's complicated.
And it's not like a case where sometimes we see this with kind of like the variations of Munchausen, where you have someone who causes the distress, the problem, and then swoops in to be the hero to fix it. And we don't see that. It's not like she puts the child in a crisis mode and then rescues the baby.
That's an excellent point. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that is, we do see that. Well, especially among mothers. This is the other thing I thought about this. This isn't infanticide. It's the killing of newborns, of babies. When a baby is found murdered, which wouldn't usually be in a hospital, it's usually the mother who's done it, quite honestly, when it's brand new. And there's all kinds of explanations. Usually those are psychologically related. But just to have...
Right, including like postpartum stress definitely can be a reason why mothers do it. So
somebody who's essentially a stranger to a baby, killing the babies is just I was just shocked to learn that this was the case I was going to be discussing, and having heard a little bit about this case. It's just such an unusual case. I'll be curious to see if we find out more about Nurse Lucy. In one way, I don't want to, because I don't want attention on people who do this, but in the other, as a criminologist, I'm curious what did motivate her, or what explains why she's doing what she did.
Dr. Davies, a lot of times with serial killers, the frequency of the killing, can be slow at first, and then police will find an acceleration in the killing, because whatever pleasure their sick minds are deriving from this act, they kind of need to do it more frequently. And that is when obviously authorities are the most worried, because it's, you're trying to find someone because someone's going to be killed relatively soon. It seems as if it's like, it starts out of nowhere. It's like 0 to 60, boom, she starts killing, and then she keeps up the pace. And I would ask you, is it possible? How could this really be the first time, if she really is the killer here, that this would happen? It's like, what is this? Add water, instant serial killer?
Yeah, what is it? Did she just get so much pleasure from this, or was it relieving some kind of tension or stress in her that she just felt that she kept doing it? I can't help but believe it's something psychological.
Do you believe that it is likely or unlikely that she has killed before, given this very swift pattern?
I don't know. I mean, if we take even somebody like the serial killer Dahmer, he killed a lot there before he was caught. But if you trace his history, he killed once when he was younger. So, I don't know. His case would say maybe she has. But I don't know. I don't know her history. I don't know if she's been a nurse other places. I don't know. Maybe this is why she went into nursing.
Right. It's very hard to know. These things are always a mystery because of, we're always asking the why, the motivation, if it's a love triangle, if it's a deal gone bad, if you're about to be exposed, self-defense, there are answers. They never justify the criminal act of murder, but you'll be like, oh, okay. But with this one, there is no way that I will ever hear an answer that will be good enough, but it would be helpful to understand this further. So let's continue on with all these victims. According to the prosecution, Nurse Lucy's next victim was taken a few days later, on June 14th of 2015, the infant baby C arrived in the neonatal unit premature, weighing less than 2 pounds. That is one tiny little baby. Baby C was under the care of another, less experienced nurse, and Nurse Lucy was given explicit instructions to care for a different infant in that unit. These nurses are assigned. When Baby C's nurse went to the nursing station, she heard the infant alarm going off, and when she returned, she found Nurse Lucy Letby standing there next to the boy's bassinet. She reportedly asked a co-worker to be left in charge of Baby C prior to the incident, saying that it would be cathartic for her. It would help her well-being to see a living baby in a space previously occupied by a dead baby. Remember, we've had a baby die. The Baby C was stationed in the same room as Baby A, who died a few days earlier. Does that give you any insight into this insanity?
Yeah, I wonder what her colleagues were thinking about her at this time. Were they thinking, wow, let's help her, and they believed her? She's such a sociopath, perhaps, that she was very believable, or were they getting vibes off of her, thinking, wow, this, who is this Lucy nurse? I wonder.
I don't know. She was able to.
How long was she working at that place before she started doing all of this? Like, what were people, did they get to have that experience with her of like learning to trust her and become her friend? Or did she just recently start there within the last, few months before she started doing it? And this is, and nobody believes her, and people are starting to have weird thoughts about her at work. Man, this is like just, we're just getting in, or people are just getting into the beginnings of this whole thing. She did plead not guilty, so she's going to trial. So definitely going to figure out what the hell her problem is. This is extremely, extremely sad. What happened.
Initially revived Baby C, and there had been long, prolonged episodes of low oxygen that had slowed the baby's heart rate. Baby C was pronounced dead later that day. Investigators believe he died of excessive air in his gut, that they believe that this time the nurse injected air through the nasal gastric tube. As we said, we see these babies all the time. They have little tubes and little things everywhere. In another instance, so this is the one that just drives me crazy. So the mother of premature twins, these are babies E and F, walked into the unit, saw Nurse Lucy holding one of her boys. Now the baby was bleeding from the mouth or the nose area, and the mother was obviously concerned. And so Nurse Lucy told the mother not to worry. It's just irritation from the tube. Okay, that sounds potentially logical. And then she said this to the mother: "Trust me, I'm a nurse." So of course, the mother believes in the medical staff. 5 hours later, Baby F was dead.
I don't know if I would trust the nurse if I saw blood coming out of its mouth or ears or something. They're like, it's test tube problems. Like, what fucking baby has blood coming out of them because of test tubes? That doesn't make no fucking sense. I don't know. I'm more cautious when I go to hospitals and stuff, because I don't like hospitals anyway, because I've heard way too many stories of malpractices. So medical malpractices. And I know like our medical system is based, at least in history, based off of male stuff. So male, medicines and male recoveries and stuff. So, just going into hospitals to have a baby, to me, is a very, very, very scary situation. I don't trust shit.
I don't even know how that poor parent feels right now, because if that were me, I'd be like, I should have jumped in there. I should have, gotten this woman off my baby. But how would you know? How would you know? You're exhausted. You've just delivered 2 babies. They're tiny.
I bet all these parents feel horrible, but they're not to be blamed. She knew what she was doing, and she was very good at manipulation.
Exactly.
I know. Oh my God. So the doctor who was present when that twin died testified that the infant lost over a quarter of his total blood volume before his death. The doctor said he had never seen a baby bleed like this before. So an extraordinary death that, immediately makes you wonder, it's like, wait a minute, something's really wrong here. But the child's death was initially ruled as being caused by gastrointestinal disorder. No post-mortem was performed. As we said, a lot of vital information was lost in the beginning when the staff just didn't know what was going on here. Nurse Lucy then went after that baby's twin brother, okay? So this obsession with twins. I wonder if something must have happened in her life to be so obsessed with these twins. So now, 24 hours after the first twin dies, she then administers insulin through the baby's feeding bag tube, and Baby F was revived by doctors and ultimately survived that attack. So also, some of the victims have survived.
Yeah, totally agree, Ghost Start. Anytime somebody says, trust me, that's like big red flags. I'm like, no, no, thank you.
One of the victims survived is a 3-month-old baby, but this baby suffered irreparable brain damage. There were 3 attempts to kill this baby by injecting air into the milk. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. And again, we cannot figure out this motive, but the investigators have revealed that after the deaths, they found in her search history that she was obsessed, following on social media all the parents. Is it tantalizing to them, to a serial killer to?
She seemed to have something about power and control. Definitely. I also wonder, the thing about twins, I wonder if she had something about twins, or in a neonatal unit, you're more likely to have twins. So maybe it's statistically just more likely to have twins there because, they're born smaller. So I'd be curious if there were non-twins there and if she just went after the twins, because that might tell us something. There might be some insight there.
There might be. I mean, it's all a guessing game at this point. It's also been revealed at trial that she sent a sympathy card to the parents of the baby that she's accused of killing in her fourth attempt. That was the baby where she tried and she finally, on the fourth time, killed the baby. She kept a copy of the card on her phone, and she allegedly had some medical records of some of the victims. Prosecutors suggest that this could be like serial killers when they keep souvenirs. What do you make of that? Does that seem like
That seems exactly like what it is. That's atypical kind of the thing that they do, keeping little souvenirs of what they've done, even trying to I know murderers that go out and actually help the police and the families go and look for missing victims, and the actual person that did it would go and help them. So it's just that kind of the whole power of I know something that you don't know kind of thing. So they definitely have that kind of mentality for sure. And it seems like that's what she has as well. So
a possibility?
It does. And it seems like sometimes they keep the souvenirs to kind of relive the crime. And it would seem like what she's keeping would be a way for her to think about what she's done and get whatever satisfaction she's getting out of that from looking at the souvenirs.
It's really sickening. In fact, because this trial is going on, forgive me, we've got Will, our producer, got some new details today from what happened in court, and obviously time differences. So today, prosecutors presented handwritten notes that were found in the search of Nurse Lucy's home. So it's interesting. They're being viewed as proclamations of innocence, and then others seem like they could be confessions. It's kind of hard to read into things. So in one, it seemed that she was preparing to defend herself. Quote, "What allegations have been made and by who? Question mark. Do they have written evidence to support their comments?" I don't think that that's unusual, right? You're going to defend yourself, whether you're guilty or innocent, right? I don't read much into that. In another, appearing to be maybe a confession, I want to hear your opinion on this. She wrote, quote, "I killed him on purpose because I'm not good enough."
That kind of sounds like a confession, doesn't it? And the first thing you said, it made me think of Ted Bundy and other serial killers, including one that I attended his trial here locally where I live, where the serial killers wanted to defend themselves. They're so certain they're the smartest people that they are going to talk for themselves. They're going to defend themselves. And she sounds like she might be like that. I imagine she does have a defense person, but some of that writing sounds like that.
And then she ended another note saying, quote, "I am evil. I did this." No disputing here. Nope, not at all. Again, my guess is she's going to, if convicted, she is going to be studied because she's so unusual in the world of serial killers.
Yeah.
Although, based on what you're sharing with us, there are some patterns that she shares with some notorious killers.
Yeah, and she's unusual because she's a woman, because we don't see many killing baby. But I don't know if you remember Harold Shipman. He's another angel of death. He was in England as well. He was convicted of killing 15 of his patients. He was a doctor, but he's believed to have killed as many as 250.
Oh, my Lord.
And that took longer to see a pattern because it wasn't in a neonatal unit. Here, as horrible as this was, at least the authorities were paying attention and caught on.
Yeah, and we're able to finally stop this lunatic. So police began investigating the deaths in May of 2017.
It's saying,
remember, they started back in
you
2015.
can't hear
Yes.
anything. What do you mean you can't hear anything? It was just working fine. Oh, you can hear Dolores? Okay, cool.
And yeah, it definitely took a while for them to figure out the patterns. And as you said, because babies do die and people do die in hospitals, but statistically there are averages. There can be anomalies, but for the most part, this was a spike. So Nurse Letby.
Yeah, exactly. I am completely right there with you. I advocate for socialized medicine. I mean, even, in the bigger scheme, in the bigger picture of everything, hospitals and nurses and doctors still do help out a lot. It's just, you just always have that in the back of your head, like, am I going to be the one, that they don't care about? Or, what if I said something? Because I've had children, like most of the times I've gone to the hospital is, like the majority of the time that I've spent in hospitals is when I had my kids, because I had C-sections. So you're always wondering, like, when it's done and over with and you're like half asleep because you just gone through this whole shit and you're just like, oh, did I say, I hope I didn't say anything wrong to them or whatever. Or you, like, when they're telling you some of these nurses in like hospitals can get really brutal, especially back in the day when like in the early 2000s and before, having children, they were very adamant about breastfeeding, like super, super, super adamant about breastfeeding. And I just know that I did it, but it was very hard for me. I had to take a lot of breaks here and there because of the pain was just way, way, way too much for me to handle. And they would get mad at me. Like the nurses would get super, super mad at me for not breastfeeding my child. And I'm just sitting here like, I feel like you guys, like this child is literally ripping my nipple out of me, completely just ripping my nipple off. And the nurse would be like, oh, well, you need to do this. This is important for the child and blah, blah, blah. And then come to find out, like my sister just recently had her fourth kid. And the nurses in there were telling her, if you want to breastfeed, do it this certain way. And so they're still trying to do the same thing, not really caring as much about not breastfeeding, but still doing the whole, like, you need to do 15 minutes on or 10 minutes on this side and then 10 minutes on this side and then switch it back and forth and back and forth. And then my sister ends up telling me, like, no, you can do it on one boob for the whole 30 minutes if you fucking want to. Like, you don't have to fucking switch it up. And I was sitting there like, I fucking sit here and listen to the nurses because I'm terrified that they're going to do something like murder my child because I don't listen to them. And it like ruined the whole bonding with the child and the whole breastfeeding thing with the kid. Like I did it because it was a job. Like I hated the pain. I never got over the pain of it. And it's all because of this nurse made me feel like I had to breastfeed and I had to do it this certain exact way. And I couldn't do it any other way. And so it's just so sometimes like they can get a little out of hand. And that's where that fear comes in, like if that nurse back then can be that mean to me over something so small, like who's to say, like it could happen, any of the nurses can end up being like this lady right here. So, okay, good. The sound is back. What people don't understand is that Medicare for All is the compromised version of a national health care. Yeah. I feel like they're trying to find something wrong with me, even if I'm just bringing a friend or a relative, right? Yeah, I know. Oh, so true. All right, let me know if you hear it, Shane.
Was officially charged in November of 2020. Her friends and family were surprised. I read some of the comments to the reporters, and she was described as being amazing, a kind-hearted person. Don't you find with some of the serial killers, certainly like a Bundy, that there's a certain charm to them?
Yeah, often there is that, and people are surprised, and that's the way they're able to trick people into coming with them. Or in this case, she said, "I'm a nurse, trust me," and the mother trusted.
Yeah, it's because when you think of a serial killer, you're thinking of like some horrific monster, and they are monsters. But it is always interesting to me how not all of them. Like there's a recent one here in the United States. Is it Sam Little?
Samuel Little, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing redeeming about him, although he's a tricky one because his artwork is fascinating. And those of you who've been following that case, he killed for a very long time. He's been convicted, and he helped prosecutors and the FBI figure out some of his victims who were, women who were more on the fringe, maybe in the sex trade, maybe addicted to drugs, women who had been missing for a long time. So it was harder to find the victims. So what he did was he's made these portraits from memory of his victims. And then the FBI posted them. And then all these families came forward and said, oh my God, that looks like my aunt. That looks like my mother. That looks like my daughter. And through that, it's unbelievable, this case, they were able to identify more of his victims. And so, Professor, I look at his art, right? And then I see a talent and I see a level of beauty. And then I'm reminded, my God, this is someone he killed. Like, how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, he didn't even know their names. He can remember what they looked like, but he couldn't remember their names. Just horrible. But humans are complicated. When I teach sociology classes, I note that you think your chemistry class is hard, but chemicals react in a certain way all the time. Humans, we're unpredictable. There's so many things that impact how we behave. There's our chemicals, but there's also our environments, what influences us. And we see patterns, but there can be exceptions to those patterns, like our nurse Lucy today.
I know. And she was specially trained in this area. As far as anyone can tell, there had been no prior complaints to her. She was even mentioned in a newspaper article when they were talking about, the importance of these units and so on. So, this is someone who was well regarded, liked. And when you see the photos of her holding babies and she's so happy, really, does this woman look to you like a serial killer of babies? No. And that's the scary thing.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing. Well, this trial is going to go on for some time. It's expected to last 6 months. We will keep everyone posted on the updates on this. And frankly, let's hope for a conviction here. Our next case is out of Colorado Springs.
So that's that one. That was done in the UK. That's that story. So what do you guys got to say? NHS is the way to go. like they have it in the UK. The Brits just need to stop Liz Truss from Americanizing it. Yeah, did you notice that? It's like it almost felt like the UK is like going backwards with their healthcare system because of this new lady. But from what I was reading this morning, it's a lot of, I guess, a lot of Parliament is asking her to step down. So we'll see what happens. I don't think the people there are very happy with what's happening, but it's the inevitable of what happened to their Bernie Sanders dude over there. I always forget his name, the Tory guy. And then ended up, they ended up voting Boris Johnson in, who's literally like the UK version of Donald Trump and looks like the UK version of Donald Trump in a way. I always called him the English Donald Trump. So, because they look almost exactly the same, like there was no difference. So, they're just doing their whole backtracking, and apparently there's, they've got Brexit that they're dealing with as well too. So that kind of like divided them extremely, almost as much as us, but they're like their whole country is like the size of, a state here. So, any kind of small country like that, especially an island country, any kind of tension is going to be multiplied by a lot compared to, huge countries like Russia or China or America, things like that. So definitely, yeah, Jeremy Corbyn, yes, Britain's better Bernie, exactly. Yes, definitely Britain's better Bernie. So you can just see they're going backwards, but it's interesting to watch us and then watch them, and to be able to see like, okay, this is the way that we're going, this is the way that they're going. We could possibly be in that scenario too if and it's like sometimes they like learn from us, and then sometimes they're like, oh no, we're doubling down on how you guys are voting. It's so interesting to see the similarities between and the separate too of what's happening in America, in like when it comes to like leadership and government programs, government funded programs, compared to England, who pretty much has the same system, just more socialized. It's wild to me. It's absolutely crazy. So, and I'm hoping that, this lady, what did you say her name? Liz Truss. Yes. The Liz Truss lady, can finally, or will like at least piss the people off enough because they'll want to keep their NHS. I mean, I'm pretty sure like if you've had something for a long time, you don't want to get rid of it. You want to keep it. So that's what I'm thinking. People are going to, she's obviously taking it away. So maybe people will start fighting against it more and more and more, which I'm seeing like part of Parliament doing it, but they're just asking her to step down. So yeah. Yes, everybody who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe. We've this whole week I've been like working my little tushy off. We have reached 918 subscribers today. So I noticed that we were like at 903 last week, and so we've gained some more subscribers. I know that I went over to the Rochford Files, Andrew Rochford's show, and went and had them hook me up with, like telling them come and sub to us as well over there. So definitely been working on the subs. I'm thinking maybe our clips are starting to get us some subs. Definitely don't want to look in the comment section of the videos for sure. I just read one of them this morning. Somebody said that what did it say? This lefty is a nut, I'm out, about me. So definitely somebody either conservative or like a moderate Democrat definitely didn't like my take on the Tulsi Gabbard leaving the Democrats video, probably because he is pissed off that Tulsi left the Democrats. That's pretty much what I was probably thinking, because I'm a nut because I'm okay with her leaving the Democratic Party. Like, whatever, you do what you want. So yes. I know, I saw that too. Like, I was like, all right, we gotta like, our videos are outbeating our subscribers now. I thought that was pretty cool, actually, seeing that. I was like, oh, we got more videos than subscribers. That's pretty neat. That shows that we're we're working our tushy off, especially you, Shane. You've been here for, this is your place. So definitely been working your tushy off. 950 videos. I was in England in 2006 and I loved my stay there that week. I bet my husband is from England, so I get to hear a lot of about the stuff that goes on over there because his grandparents go and would go over there half of the year and then come back over here half of the year. So, we still get to hear, I still get to hear a lot of stuff that's going on out there. And then hearing my husband too, who's grown up in England, it's like, I ask him all the time, I'm like, what do you think about, not having any health insurance and not getting any Medicare and how much it's going to cost us? And he's like, healthcare should be free. Like, he absolutely understands. Like, to him, he doesn't even, it's still hard for him to comprehend that Americans, don't have it like that, because he's so used to having it like that. So yeah, absolutely. I love the UK. I'm pretty sure one day when my kids are old enough and they're out living their own lives and are grown-ups, me and my husband would probably move to the UK just to get the fuck away from America. EU prostitutes call them Boris Johnsons. Nice. I bet. They probably have made money off of him for sure. Get it, girls. Slay. You take that, Boris Johnson. Boris's Johnson. Hey, you be nice, Izzy. You don't walk up to your son and just go, pow, pow, pow. That's not nice. Jeez. Izzy. Bitch. You're mean. And look what I got. Water bottle. Start with me. Try me. Even some Tories think the NHS is better than, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's free. It's free at the point of service. So yeah, Yona with Shane agree. Tulsi, meh. Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's, yeah, I don't like Tulsi, but it's fine if she wants to leave exactly. That's what I said. I think that was the whole thing. Like, I don't really care what she does, as long as she wants to leave the DNC, that's totally cool for her. And then I think what I did was I think I made fun of the Democrats a little bit, though. I was like, you guys are all just pissed off because she's leaving and left the Democratic Party. So you guys are just all mad or whatever and angry that she left. And y'all are probably thinking that she's going to the Republican Party, but we don't even know for sure where she's going. She could go to the Libertarian Party. So all she's showing is that she's going on like Fox News and stuff. It's not like it's that big of a deal. So yes, rest in peace, Takahashi. I want to learn. Okay, so okay, so see how you say, like, that's so funny. So okay, it's so funny that you put that. So I downloaded a video game called the Yakuza. I can't think of it. Okay, and in that game they always say the name and then san right afterwards. See, like how you put Takahashi-san, and in there they say it like a lot in that video game. And I want to learn what that means. Like, what does the san at the end mean? And they use other words too, like not just like Takahashi-san, but they do like other words at the end as well. And I want to know, is that like a sign of respect? Is it like a sir or a ma'am? And do they have ones that are like for like instead of like people that you respect that are above you, is there ones for like the lower people, like your students? Is there like something like that for that? Because they say it a lot, and I really like got into it, and I was like, what does each one of those mean? So yeah, that's so cool that you put that, because it totally made me think of that. So yeah, fuck the haters. Libertarians don't really want her, from what I know. Okay, that's all right. I used to simp for AOC and Tulsi, and now I get frustrated. Yeah, same. I never simped for them, but I did respect them. And now it's just like, meh, whatever. They're just like everybody else, like all the rest of the, bought out politicians, that all the rest of them are, that it was a good lesson for us to learn, because if we would have just completely ignored her, like what the Democrats are doing, we would still be idolizing her right now instead of actually seeing her for what she's done. And then it would just be rinse and repeat, like she would become the next Nancy Pelosi in the next 50 years and nothing would ever get done. So it's nice. It's good to see that there's a lot of us that are just starting to notice that and are seeing it and are saying it. So definitely. I'm happy that she left the Democratic Party. Good for her. But I mean, what else is she going to do? Like, okay, what next? I don't care. You do what you want to do. I'm kind of rooting for third party, but yeah. And then AOC is just a huge disappointment ever since she got got released into the hells of to the hells of that Congress. She's just bleh. So okay, it's a respect like Sura, ma'am. Yeah. And Yakuza is the Japanese mafia. Yeah, so that's what you play in the video game is like a Japanese mafia dude. Definitely a Japanese mafia territorial fighting in the game. It's a very cool video game. I definitely like it. I never got into the turn-based fighting game where like you take a turn and fight and then the next guy takes a turn and fight and then the next guy, everybody takes their own turns in the fighting. But I like it. It's very interesting. It's got that like cartoony kind of really coolness about it. So you got to check it out. I think it's called Yakuza or Yakuza, I think it's called. And it's I have it on PlayStation, but I'm pretty sure it's like on consoles and stuff. So okay, yeah, it is like the san suffix means Mr. or Mistress. So okay, I would be like Jimmy-san. That's so cool. It is an honorific indeed. AOC is better than Pelosi, but it's not good enough to be better than Pelosi. Yeah, that's okay. Good. I'm glad that you said that because yeah, that's. Of course, AOC is a little bit better than Pelosi, but that being the bar is so low, like that's the worst of the worst, So yeah, that's a really, really low bar, and that's what sucks. It's like our top person is probably the worst of the worst. So yeah, very low bar. Those are fun. Used to play a bunch of those back in the day and haven't played that one though. Yeah, see there I heard that there's like 3 or 4 more from before the one that I played, but I played the most recent one. So I gave up though. I kind of quit playing it for a little bit because it got to like you can whoop some ass throughout the whole game and then like or throughout like half of the game and then it just hits a point where one of your teammates leaves and goes to the other side and then you have to fight him and holy shit, like I'm stuck. I'm done. I got my ass kicked so many times by that one dude. And I'm just like, all right, I'm just not gonna play this game anymore and figure out the fuck I did wrong. So yeah, it's crazy. It's like it's super easy and then it hits a point where you're just like, oh, okay. You're just gonna keep whooping my ass. I get it. Join the Greens, the SPUSA, the PSL, People's Party, etc. All right. Not the movement for a People's Party. Go to Jim Engel, and he's got a People's Party. His is better. He came out with it around the same time that that one dude came out with the movement for one, and I always liked Jim's better. For a moment there, I thought that they were the same, but they're not at all. Like Jim's is actually a little bit better. It looks like he sent me a video recently that he got attacked. Well, not attacked, but like this guy threatened him, and you see like this. Jim's just walking his dog, and he's got like a bag in his hand, I think some food or something, walking home in his neighborhood, and this guy comes after him with like a butcher knife. So it was fucking scary. So make sure Jim, everybody give some good vibes to Jim Engel and make sure that he's feeling all right and feeling better and calmed, not as scary anymore because that's terrifying. But yeah, People's Party, Jim Engel, very cool guy. Definitely look for other parties. Third parties are definitely the way to go for sure. If AOC equals dog shit and Pelosi equals AIDS, Jesus Christ. I mean, the turn-taking, the turn-taking fighting games. I've never experienced it before that one. So that was my first time ever experiencing that kind. And I know you like the turn-taking, the turn fighting games because you do that one game that we used to play together, and that's kind of like a turn-based video game for sure. It's just the one that the Yakuza one is just wild. Like it's super, super crazy. But you haven't played that series though. Okay. All right. So let's get on to the second story. This one is obviously, she said at the beginning of the video right there, the start. I think this is based in Colorado. So it's somewhere here in America, I guess. Oh yeah, coconut pineapple juice. It's delicious. So I think she was here in America, Tinder, met a dude on Tinder. They're pretty young, like barely just drinking age. She kidnaps him. And then the wild part is where I guess she got worn out and tired. And so she ordered like Grubhub, which is crazy. Okay, san is gender neutral. Okay, cool. So I can still be Jimmy san. That's awesome. I'm so excited. I should have just Googled it and YouTubed it, but I completely forgot about it until you said that right there, Yona. And I was just like, oh my God, wait. I totally forgot. There's like this whole thing that I wanted to learn. Hey, you two. Why? Why? I swear I get my house more wet from the squirt bottle than I actually do with actually hitting them with the water because I don't want to hurt them. And I don't want to make them mad at me. I just want them scared of the noise to run. Japanese had separate language words and verbs only used by women. It is strange. Okay. That's interesting. I'll have to we'll watch a video about it one day or something so I can get into it. We can all watch it and learn it together. That'd be cool. Okay, let's watch this.
A woman is charged with kidnapping and attacking her Tinder date. 22-year-old Lauren Dooley is accused of kidnapping a man she met on Tinder, and on their first date, police said she actually held him hostage for 5 hours of this date. It sounds horrible. I said early on, she has an innocent look about her. She's youthful, and obviously, she's 22. But there are people who, let's say, are, very glamorous or whatever, or, you see a deadness in their eyes. She seemed like, based on her photo, even her mugshot, she seems this again. It's so disturbing. I realize we can't base anything on this, but it is very disturbing. The victim is a 21-year-old man. His name, since he is a victim of crime, is not being released. He agreed to meet Lauren at her Colorado Springs apartment. Things appear to be going well for the guy, according to the arrest affidavit. After she performed some oral sex, she asked him, "Let's go to the bedroom," and he's like, "Okay." And that's when things got first. He thought of it more as, I would say, kinky. This is how he described it to the police, that she bound his hands, his feet, his wrists with duct tape. And he said to the police, he said, "It's a little odd, but I went with it." So at this point, he's still agreeing here. And then she pulls out a knife and then she cuts him, and then it gets a lot worse.
So he just thought she was a kiki girl, the things that guys tolerate to get some from a girl is absolutely crazy to me. They're just like, yeah, I'll take this kiki stuff that could probably get me killed if she's psycho enough. And I don't know her. This is the first time I met her off of Tinder. Like, yo, you trust a little too much. What's up, Les Bones? How are you today? Good to see you. You at work right now, I bet.
From there. This all happened on September 28th of this year. Okay, so just initially here, Professor, what do you make of this?
There's so much in this case. There's so much. If this were the other way around, how we are socialized as women to react to situations, have this. And I'm not blaming a victim. This guy was a victim, no doubt. But how women, what we're told about going to other people's houses and things like that. So there's all that. But then just that this woman is the offender is so atypical and so much that happened there. There's just so much to unpack in this case.
So what do you keep saying that generally women are not the criminals here. So are you seeing a change over the decades, or is it just that maybe we're covering these cases so we think maybe we hear of them more? Statistically, are they increasing?
Statistically, I don't think overall they're increasing, but we are hearing about them more. Overall, and there's always underreported crime, especially underreported cases of sexual violence. And when we would expect men and women actually who are attacked by women were more likely, perhaps not reported. So we expect that to be underreported, but still knowing that of all violent crimes reported to police, only about 2% of them are the offenders women. So it's a very small number, but like this case, when there are women offenders, they do tend to be younger. We see it a little bit more with juveniles. So this is some of the research out there. And this is even an under-researched area, women offenders, because there are fewer, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. Some of them, as I mentioned with the serial killers earlier, some of the most horrendous women's offenders of sexual violence have done it with their partners, with their male partners. But this is a woman who didn't do that. So again, this is kind of an atypical case today.
I find that when the victim is a male, whether he has been attacked by a female or another male in a situation similar to this, I covered a case up in Canada of a serial killer. And the man who was attacked, it was the same thing. He met someone online recently, moved to the area, and he had the picture. They never talked on the phone. Thought he was meeting a pretty blonde woman. And he did notice that there were some odd things, like the woman, who turns out to be a man, the woman says, or the date says to him, "Oh, when you come pick me up for dinner, I want you to pick me up." And usually, when you're meeting someone the first time, you don't want anybody near your house or anything like that. You meet them there, you tell your friend, "I'm going to be here at this time. Call me at this time. If you don't hear from me, call the police." The whole thing. We all have that worked out. And so, but the date said, "You have to drive this way, very specific route." Again, thought it was kind of weird, but people are weird, right? He drives and it's to the back end of the house. It's a garage. And
All right. While I was coughing during that and sneezing and trying to blow my nose, holy fuck, man, I am not feeling good at all. I feel like boo-boo. My nose feels like boo-boo. It like keeps clogging up, and then it makes me have to sneeze, and then I sneeze, and then I blow it, and then while I'm blowing it, I choke and gag and cough. It's like the worst fucking experience ever right now, but I hate my nose. I'm going to turn myself into Michael Jackson and cut that bitch off. All right, let's see what you guys have to say really quick. So, succubus turns out is an actual thing. Absolutely. I thought you already knew that by watching my show, Yona. Don't you? I mean, Warren can tell you I'm a succubus. I steal the souls of all men. That's why my eyebrows are so high. The higher the eyebrows, the more souls you own. West Virginia only once. Elbow cough. It was me choking on trying to blow my nose. It was brutal. I think I got sick this weekend, so we'll see. Fall leaves in color. Oh, Virginia. Okay. The cost of living is low, and it might be a decent place to retire for sure. Maybe. All that worked out before the date. Okay, wait. Let me show this one. Wow, all that worked out before the date, then why date that guy if so apprehensive beforehand? Crazy. Yeah, right. Explains Pelosi's eyebrow height. Exactly. She got a little bit extra more than just souls because those eyes, man, the eyes, they don't close. I'm surprised, like, she even had. I would be surprised if she's got eyelids, because it looks like she never blinks. So,
and as he's just standing there trying to figure out how to get in, bam, he's whacked over the head. He's pulled in, and the person is covered and has a mask, but it turns out to be a man. Nearly killed the guy. He's screaming, and no one is reacting. And you know why? Because the man, the killer, oh my God, likes to make horror movies in his garage.
Of course.
Right? So because the neighbors know that the guy makes horror movies, schlocky movies in his garage, right? They're used to hearing people screaming for help. It was the worst possible mixture of all things in this. And so, but the man manages to get away. He manages to get away, but he doesn't call the police because he's so embarrassed. He doesn't even tell his friends. He doesn't. And then, like, I don't know if it's a few weeks or a few months later, forgive me if I don't remember the exact details. This happens to someone else, but they get killed. And then the first victim is like, oh my God, this sounds like what happened to me. I have to go to the police. And because of him, they were able, obviously, to go to the address, all this other stuff, and tie everything together. Is that crazy?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons we should report if we're victims, but a lot of people don't. There's a lot of shame in our society for that. We've gotten a lot better in the 20-some years I've been a criminologist. We have gotten better. We recognize victims. We don't blame victims as much, but it still happens.
Yeah, sadly it does. All right, so back to this case. So they're in the bedroom now, and he's tied up, and it's gone from a little interesting and kinky to dangerous. So she gets on top of him. This is all in the arrest affidavit. She gets on top of him, and then she uses a knife to cut his shoulder. Now he's freaking out. It's like, whoa, this is crazy. And then she then used her, this is according to him, he tells police that she used her bare hands to choke him, and then she got a belt to choke him even further. And then she removes the belt, and she checks his pulse to make sure that he's alive. Is it that she was trying to kill him, or she didn't want to kill him? Then she becomes all upset because he's bleeding all over her sheets. Well, you cut him. Of course he's bleeding, right? So it's like, what is wrong with this woman? So she demands that he goes in the bathtub because she doesn't want any of the blood on her bed anymore.
This girl sounds like a psychopath, like crazy, like she sounds like she's having some kind of internal battle in her head of whether or not she wants to go through with something like this or she doesn't, and she's freaked out and everything is gross and not what she's expecting it to be. Definitely some sort of mental problems with her for sure.
So the guy gets in the bathtub and he's bleeding. All right. Then she's holding him hostage, and I guess she gets tired and hungry, so she orders food from DoorDash. What is it about people that when they're in the middle of committing a crime, then they stop and they do something so pedestrian?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, she sat there and tried to choke the dude out and stabbed him and cut him and shit. Like, I'm pretty sure she probably got worn out and she was hungry. Like, she got hungry. But yeah, she's right. Like, why do they always do these random things? Like just regular things, right? Right around the times that they do these murders. Like, there's this one dude that they caught him like country line dancing at a bar right after he left a girl for dead, but she ended up being alive. This woman ended up growing up to be a police officer and tried to help children that dealt with the same thing that she had dealt with. But there, yeah, it was like he had just got through murdering, like, or attempting to murder a 17 or 16-year-old girl, and then like right afterwards goes and country line dances where he's on camera country line dancing at a bar. So yeah, she's right. It's so strange how these criminals do things like this and then just do basic civilian things right afterwards as if nothing happened. And it's so hard to even imagine, like, how can you live your life like so normally knowing that you've done something like it? Just, there's got to be something pathologically or mentally wrong with a person to be able to just be normal after taking or attempting to take the life of someone. It just doesn't seem normal, Like, how can you look at your hands the same? Like, how can you sit there and do dishes and you're sitting there scrubbing a plate? Here, let me bring this up a little bit. Like, if you're sitting there and you're doing dishes, knowing that you murdered somebody, and you're sitting there washing the dishes and you're scrubbing a plate, knowing that your hands have done something like that, or I don't know, holding the hand of somebody that you actually enjoy being with and knowing that your hands have done something like that. It's such a crazy, scary thing to think of, that people can just do that without any second thought whatsoever.
I've talked to some practitioners or some police detectives in the FBI, and they said sometimes people will break into people's houses and eat their food. It's something I don't know.
They're exhausted.
Yeah.
They're exhausted and they're hungry. And that's just, I guess, a logical human thing. It's like, she's been wrestling with this guy. It's been going on for hours. Your adrenaline, and she may very well have it's as simple as she was hungry, but it just gives you all this like background into what the heck is going on here. And he must have been so scared, because then she tells him, right, because she's getting food and she's hungry. She says, when the food delivery person arrives, she says, if you scream or say anything, I will kill you. Now, if I'm him, I'm going to believe her. I don't know whether I would scream or not. I think I would have a better chance. You scream, there's someone out there, maybe they'll call police. I don't know. What happens to people when they are the victim of a crime at this point and they almost paralyze?
Yeah, they're trying to survive, and they are going to listen to the person. I mean, they're doing all they can just to be like. Imagine how frightening it would be to be in that situation where this woman, she's so unpredictable, so not what you were expecting out of this event. I mean, this guy was expecting to have fun, to have sex with this person, and he's in this unreal situation, just unreal.
Yeah. Okay. So then after her tummy's full, she's like a bear that breaks in somewhere, right? After she has a full stomach, she falls asleep next to the victim. The guy's back in the bed. Okay. She's asleep. So this is his time to get away. He finds the knife that she was using. It was under the blanket near his feet. Now, he's been awake the whole time. He manages to use the knife to remove some of the duct tape, and he makes his escape. So he's collecting his things. And as he's trying to get out, he accidentally bumps into a table, makes a noise. She hears it. She runs after him. The guy runs out of the apartment, naked and bleeding, and she's following him. So this is the next part. They haven't released it yet, but this is going to be really something. So 911 gets a call, and they can hear the victim on the call, but they can also hear the victim kind of in a loud way talking to someone else, and they hear the other person. Okay. So as the dispatcher, what they're hearing on the other end is they hear him screaming to her, right? Because you cut me. You were going to kill me. Okay. So he's on 911. He's yelling at her. They're in a parking lot. He's naked and bleeding. She's coming after him. When the police arrive, the neighbors are like, yeah, there's a naked man in the parking lot. And there's also a woman. She's covered in blood. He's bloody, and police see that he's trying to back away from her. So they have already a visual on the situation. But the whole thing is crazy. But the fact that she takes it outside into a public area, what is it about people that have, if you commit a crime, you're always thinking about covering your tracks. She's not covering your tracks here.
No. Although and we'll find out what happens in the course of the case, because she's not convicted, of course. And you're always really careful to say that. One of the things I like about your podcast. But what if, and I don't think this happened, but I can imagine watching something on a, Crime of the Week fiction show where he actually attacked her. And this is his way of saying, no, it was her. And she stabbed me because she got the knife away from me. I doubt that, but it could always be. And we don't know until we find everything out that we can find out, because it's two people. Again, I'm very careful not to victim blame. And he went there, and there's a chance everything he's saying is absolutely true.
Oh, we see this all the time. There's a huge case that we've been covering.
Why wouldn't there be a chance that his thing is true? Like, he was literally bloodied and she was covered in blood. Like, if she has no scars on her and he's fully cut up, yeah, like there's just, you can't not prove that. Like, that's just the proof right there. That's wild to me. Women be crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Women can be crazy sometimes. What's crazy is what they were just saying is the whole fact that she took it outside. Usually when people do this kind of thing, they like to keep it inside, especially kidnapping, things like that. But she's just like, yo, fuck you. I'm taking it out to the streets. Let's fucking go. That's wild to me that she just took it out there and was all right with that. Like, you really thought that, chasing after him and trying to finish the job out in public, you could just run back home and nobody would ever know it was you? God damn, you two are super annoying today. All right, Burton, here, let's finish watching this. I'm going to go grab my boy.
Finally, that lunatic has been convicted. This is a woman who killed another woman who was pregnant and cut out her baby and ran with it. And I mean, she told the story that it was, the woman told me to take the baby because she was dying. And it was like, it's like the attacker, right, changes the story. And then it's unclear. Yeah, it's very possible that might be her defense. We see that an awful lot. It's like, it wasn't me, it was him, Yeah. But I think at this point, that's where the forensics will come in. And based on his wounds and injuries and her wounds and injuries and DNA, and that will indicate a lot as to what happened in that apartment. Police searched her apartment. They found the kitchen knife near the bed. They found plenty of blood in the bathtub, blood-soaked rags. It was just a disaster. Lauren was detained, but she refused to speak with authorities. Lauren Dooley has been charged with felony counts of second-degree kidnapping, second-degree assault, menacing, and misdemeanor false imprisonment. Her initial court hearing scheduled for this morning, Thursday, October 13th. We've been monitoring it. As of this recording, we don't have anything updated. I'm surprised that they didn't charge her with attempted murder.
Yeah, who knows? And there must have been enough evidence to charge her with all of this, or they wouldn't.
Right. No, and these are indeed serious. Without question, they are serious, and he survived. Man, I can't wait to hear that 911 tape and learn more about this case. It is, as you said, you go on these dates and you always, try and be as safe as possible, try to meet someone in a public area, but nonetheless, even if they had met for a drink or a coffee down the street, this whole scenario could have still happened.
It still could happen. But I do think that that's something you say we're two women. I think we were both probably raised, you always pay attention to this. And I think only more recently have we told guys to pay attention to this and be wary. And maybe we need to even emphasize that a little more after this
Oh, absolutely. I have a young adult son. I'm even warning him and all of his friends. I'm always saying, never leave a drink at the bar. You don't know who's going to put anything. I know I sound like the crazy mother, but yes, absolutely. Men can of course be victims. And I think you have to be really vigilant. You have to be a vigilant person these days, not man or woman, person.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true. I also wonder about this case of the Lauren, if she was on something. Just the fact that she was so hungry that she went to sleep, that she just seemed so unpredictable. I'd be curious. I imagine they took, they may not have gotten any levels of, they may not have taken her blood. I don't know what but often we find if someone's done something, they're on something, at least alcohol. Alcohol is a common drug so I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're basing everything on the arrest affidavit, and it's basically like a story. It's the story that the victim tells the police, and based on that information and the evidence gathered, that they're like, yeah, lady, you're going. Come on, in the back of the patrol car. We'll follow this case as we always do. You all know that we try and do that. I do, Professor, before we go, our cases were incredible this week, and we're not going to do comments, but I am curious. We've had some other professors on before, and I'm always very curious about your students and what it is that you all are discussing, and because their minds are firing at a rapid pace, and I'm curious as to how they view crime, or just it's a different generation.
Yeah, they're fascinated. They listen to podcasts. A lot of them are very much curious about true crime. I emphasize that.
Okay. I think they're just going off about some random stuff now. So that was all that. That's pretty interesting. Definitely interesting to see some more some female ones as well. So I thought that was really interesting. Thank you so much, Amber, for sending that over. If you guys want to check this out and watch it yourself, I am going to put it into the comment section. So there you guys go. Definitely more than welcome to, obviously. It's free to watch on YouTube, so please go do that. Izzy, I'd left you out and put the cat in the room, the kitty in the room, because I thought that you were going to be the good one. And now you're acting psycho, and he's being Have. So I think I'm going to switch you two out. Let me get started on the next one first. These cats are going to absolutely drive me crazy. All right, so I was going to do the Amouranth one, but we'll watch the video about the company. Jesus, no such thing as a good billionaire. Definitely done by the Adam Ruins Everything. The Adam Conover is his name on YouTube. So he breaks down why billionaire charities is terrible for the planet and why we should stop swallowing their myths. You're welcome, Holly. Absolutely. I know you guys enjoy like hanging out and watching this stuff with me, but I'm pretty sure you guys want to watch the video in full as well without me stopping with all my shenanigans. So, all right. So here's this. And it's called Why There's No Such Thing as a Good Billionaire. Izzy, are you going to behave yourself right now? Or am I going to have to switch you two out? Are you being good? Izzy? Izzy? All right. I think she's being behaved. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Let's start watching this bad boy.
So Patagonia, the company that makes overpriced vests for tech bros who pretend to be outdoorsy, got a metric fuckload of good headlines this month when their billionaire owner, Yvon Chouinard, announced that he was donating the entire company to fight climate change. Twitter exploded in jubilation. The Washington Post said, finally, a billionaire willing to smack back at capitalism. Even the beloved environmentalist Bill McKibben said, if every company was as decent as Patagonia, the world would work better and people would be cozy all winter. Now, this is a wonderful story. I would love to believe that there's a good billionaire out there looking out for the planet from atop his pile of money. But you can feel what's coming, can't you? I mean, I wouldn't be making this video if there weren't a darker truth to expose. Am I really going to do this? Am I actually going to disagree with Patagonia, the media, and Bill McKibben, a man I deeply respect and admire, and tell the world why this feel-good story is actually terrible? Fuck yeah, I am. Not only.
All right, well, let's get into. Oh, you're enjoying the dogs? Yeah, I'm trying to stay small so you guys don't see like what they're doing back there. But yeah, that's them. Here, wait, let me scoot it over. That's them. Oh, you guys have been busted. You're not gonna do anything now? Okay. It's so weird how they do that. They do like this little like thing in the couch, and it's so weird. I don't understand, but it's their little thing, and they enjoy doing it. So just let them do their thing. Are you all right over there, dogs? You okay? Are you good? Are you good? All right, let's finish watching.
Only was this donation designed to help Chouinard avoid billions of dollars in taxes. The fact that it's even possible for a billionaire to pull this maneuver is an unmitigated disaster for the planet and for our democracy. And when we swallow PR like this, we are literally falling for the oldest billionaire bullshit in the book. Now, a lot of people found this story believable, including me at first, because it fits Chouinard's carefully cultivated public image. He's been described for years as the reluctant billionaire, a frugal rock climber who just loved making gear for his friends, then tripped and accidentally started a $3 billion company. People tell stories about Chouinard eating cans of cat food to save money, and he famously still drives a Subaru instead of a fancy car. The dude supposedly doesn't even own a cell phone, which is maybe why he doesn't know that human food is just as cheap as cat food. You weren't saving money, Yvon. You were just being weird. And as far as corporations go, Patagonia does have a solid environmental record. They've donated over $140 million to a huge number of organizations promoting everything from land conservation to biodiversity to sustainable agriculture to the end of fossil fuels. Now, Chouinard said that he wanted the company's commitment to the planet to continue after his death. So instead of selling the company to some corner-cutting capitalist who would start powering the fleeced vest factories with coal and, I don't know, cancel the Batgirl movie again, he decided to donate all of his stock to a nonprofit organization with a mission of helping the planet.
Now, it's of course it probably echoed. Now, of course, obviously, as you can see, that to most people that would seem like it was a really good thing that he did instead of selling off his company to, rich CEOs that want to also, own his company or let somebody buy it out or, leave it to his children like most people do, like the Walton family. He, quote unquote, donated it to a quote unquote nonprofit charity. So we'll see how well this goes. What top 10? Stop it! You're killing my anxiety. Thank you.
New York Times piece so glowing it might as well have been written by his publicist. Chenard said that hopefully this donation will influence a new form of capitalism that doesn't end with a few rich people and a whole bunch of poor people. And his own accountant said that he'll receive no tax benefit for his donation whatsoever. But if you want the straight story about a billionaire's finances, it might make sense to ask someone other than the guy who cooks the books for him. The truth is, if Chenard really just wanted to make sure that Patagonia's value stayed intact, he didn't need to donate it to a nonprofit. He could have just given all $3 billion worth of shares to his kids. They could have kept running the company according to Daddy Dearest's wishes and lovingly rapped about him at corporate board meetings. So, why didn't he do that? Simple. He would have had to pay $1.2 billion in gift taxes. And Yvonne's a good billionaire, so he doesn't like paying taxes. I mean,
so that's the whole point. He had to pay a lot in taxes if he was to gift it to his family. They'd have to pay the gift tax, which is $12 billion. And him donating his to a nonprofit charity would only cost him, I think it was like $1.2 billion. So he literally saved like almost $12 billion just by doing that.
Pay for the roads his products are transported on, the schools and universities his workers are educated at, the GPS system that he uses to track his shipments, and the government research into heart attacks and cancer that have kept him alive until the ripe old age of 83. I mean, he's self-made, right? He did it all by himself. Now, I know what you're thinking. Adam, he didn't pay taxes because he did something better. He donated it to charity. Well, let's take a look at how charitable that donation actually was. 98% of the shares Chenard donated were given to a brand new environmental nonprofit he formed called the Holdfast Collective. Kind of a weird name, sort of sounds like a mid-2000s Brooklyn indie band, but more about that in a second. The other 2%, though, were Chenard's voting shares. These are the shares that let you actually control what the company does. And these shares were given to something called the Patagonia Purpose Trust, which is solely controlled by Chenard and his family. What this means is that even though all the headlines said Chenard was donating the company to charity, he and his family will continue to control Patagonia forever. You know, I didn't know that was how donations worked. When I donate my car to 1-800-CARS-FOR-KIDS, I can't show up the next weekend and take it for a joyride. But Yvonne and his family can. Now, the family
there you go. Like, even though he donated all his company to the charity, he still owned the shares that were called the voting shares, which still gave him pretty much control over his company as well, even though he donated it to a nonprofit.
$17 million in gift taxes to execute this maneuver. But don't forget, they already saved $1.2 billion by donating the other 98% to charities.
So that was even more or less than I thought. So, okay, he had to pay $1.2 billion in taxes, and if he gifted it to his children, but if he donated it to the nonprofit, that's the only taxes that he had to pay was $17 million, and he got to keep that much. So, yeah, exactly. That's what I kept thinking too, which I don't think he mentions in here at all, is the tax write-off part of being able to do that, to donating it. Because yeah, there's a lot of people that I knew that would like donate things for something and then it wouldn't actually be that, and then they would be able to use it as a tax write-off at the end of the year. I mean, even a lot of like CEOs do it when they go to like fly a jet to another state and then have lunch with like some people. They're like, oh, well, this is just, a business write-off, and then it'll be a tax write-off everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Charity is a scam. I'm pretty much like what this is all about is about how much scammy charities are. So yeah, let's watch.
So it came out roughly $1.2 billion ahead. That shit's not even a rounding error. So what about that other 98%? And who exactly is the Holdfast Collective? Well, they're actually pretty mysterious. They don't even have a website. And when you Google them, you just find a bunch of Reddit threads of people asking, what the hell is the Holdfast Collective? But what we do know from the New York Times is that the Holdfast Collective will receive roughly $100 million a year in profit from Patagonia, and that they plan to use that money to influence the US political system. See, regular nonprofits are what's called 501c3s. 501c3s are required to use the money for charitable purposes and are barred from making political contributions. But the Holdfast Collective is a 501c4, and that means it's allowed to use that money to donate to politicians, super PACs, and even to conduct direct political campaigning. And since it's safe to assume that the Holdfast Collective is going to be basically run by the Chenard family, considering they founded it and control its money supply, that means Yvonne was able to take his $3 billion company and turn it into a $3 billion political influence machine, tax-free. He didn't pay capital gains tax on the
is exactly what they fucking do. I mean, that's exactly what they do. That's just what they do. They're able to do that. They're allowed to pay for political influence. If they're a 501c4, you're allowed to do that. When you're a 501c3, you're not allowed to do that. It's supposed to go to the betterment of either the business or the betterment of society. So yeah.
growth of the company. He didn't pay the income tax that I would have to pay before I donate to my favorite 501c4. And he definitely didn't pay the gift taxes you normally have to pay if you want to give $3 billion in money and political influence to your kids. That's right, Patagonia made the jackets, but it was the rest of us who got fleeced. That's a Patagonia pun. Let's be clear. Because of their control of Patagonia and Holdfast, Chenard's descendants are going to wield massive political power for their entire lives. They're going to be invited to meetings with powerful elected leaders. They'll be flown around the world to conferences. They'll be lauded as great philanthropists until the day they die, when their kids will take over as money bags in chief. Chenard has turned his money into permanent political power for him and his descendants, and I do not think he should get a tax break for doing it. And look, I'll grant Chenard's good intentions here. I think that in addition to wanting to save money on his taxes, he and his family are motivated by a sincere desire to help the planet. And I think their donation, taken in isolation, will do that. But we can't take it in isolation, because Chenard is not the only billionaire pulling this move. And the other billionaires are a lot less cuddly than Mr. Puffervest for the planet. Let's talk about a different billionaire named Barry Side. The wonderful investigative journalism outfit ProPublica did an expose this year on Side when he pulled the exact same move as Yvonne. He donated his entire fortune to charity. But Twitter and the New York Times didn't throw a party in Barry's honor. Why? Because the charity he donated to was run by Leonard Leo, the right-wing activist who spent the last couple decades stacking the Supreme Court with radical conservatives. You know, the same conservatives who recently overturned Roe v. Wade and banned the EPA from regulating greenhouse gases. Cheering on Chenard's abuse of the system just because you agree with his cause doesn't make sense. It's like cheering for a baseball player who does steroids. Sure, it's nice when he hits a home run for your team, but when all the other teams are doing it too, you get your ass kicked and it kind of fucks the game up. It's also, how to put this, the opposite of democracy. See, everyone sees the world differently and everyone has different needs. And that means that no one person has all the answers. So the central insight of democracy is that we need to spread power widely and diversely among many different types of people if we want to solve our biggest problems. But billionaires like Chenard are doing the opposite. He's hoarding power, even if he feels that he's using it for good. But why should the owner of a fancy clothing company get to decide what's good or not?
And see, that's like where like a lot of the problem comes in when you learn about like the psychology of like the villain psychology, or CEO psychology, the psychology, because a lot of CEOs and owners and rich people and stuff, they tend to be psychopaths, I believe it is. So it's really interesting to see, like, they think that they're doing really good things, not realizing the corruption and the kind of, the horribleness that is actually happening with the regular people of the country. He thinks that he's doing good by, not paying taxes and giving it to a nonprofit, but still owning the voting shares of it. It's crazy how wild it is. And I'm really sorry about my dogs. It's so stressful. I just can't. Hey!
Why don't we all decide it together? maybe the billionaires could kick in their fair share to a communal pool of money we all contribute to, and then we could vote on what to spend it on. I don't know, just a crazy idea I found on this dusty old scroll. But no, instead, our system allows a few wealthy people to amass disgusting amounts of wealth and then gives them a tax break when they use it to influence our political system. And that is no way to run a society. Democracy only works when everybody has a voice. So instead of applauding Chenard, we do a lot better to take that power back for ourselves. Now, I think that argument is pretty straightforward. Open and shut, video could end right there. Except that when I posted about this on Twitter, I was deluged with hate from angry billionaire fans. And I started to realize that something deeper
That's
is going
another
on.
thing that really is stupid to me. Like the people that obsess over like these billionaires, like the Bill Gates lovers. Like I remember back in the day when Reddit would have they would do like a yearly Santa gift kind of thing where like it would be like a Santa's gift time, and then you would sign up for it on Reddit, and or Secret Santa, that's what it was. And then everybody that signed up all over the world, they would give you a person, and then you would have to figure out from like the bio that they filled out that you would send them a gift. And like everybody's obsession was they wanted to get Bill Gates' gift because Bill Gates would sign up and do the whole Secret Santa Reddit stuff. And like everybody was obsessed with it. And now like everybody's obsessed with Elon Musk, and they call him like Elon Daddy and shit like that. Like these guys aren't that great. I mean, look at what's happening with Elon right now with the whole Starlink system and in Ukraine, and like it's like supposedly like their connection and their like way to talk to each other. And he's like, I'm losing money on this. I can't fund this anymore. The government needs to start funding this. Knowing full fucking well that like all Elon ever fucking does is like beg the government for free money so he can like fund these new projects that he's wanting to do. It's like you get so much free welfare from the government, like so much free welfare money from the government, and you're saying that you can't even like sit there and support whatever, like, because I don't care. Like I don't care if their communication system, it's just the whole, like, to me it was like the bigger perspective of like Elon being a whiner baby about money and that he can't afford things anymore. Like I don't care if there's connections and like if they're able to talk in in Ukraine, and because I'm not for the wars, you guys all know that, but it's still like Elon, you got to be a fucking baby about this whole thing. Like you get so much free money from the government all the fucking time. I see you fighting with Amazon Bezos dude all the time with the government about I deserve this money, and then Bezos is like, no, I deserve this money, and it's ridiculous, it's disgusting. And they're all just big old babies. So this is the kind of thing that they do. It's gross.
Here. I mean, people really love this cat food eating, Subaru driving, humble billionaire who cares. And they get very mad at you if you criticize him. I mean, he's got a great brand and people love it. I love it too. I love my Patagonia jacket. When I wear it, I feel like I'm in that Wes Anderson movie where Bill Murray is sad in the 60s. No, not that one, the other one. No, not that one, the other one. No, not that one, the other. That's the one. Thank you. All right. There's 3 more, though. But here's the problem. That story, that brand, isn't real. It's...
Yeah, Shane, you're absolutely right. The taxes don't fund spending. It's the whole, we got to look at it in the perspective of everybody always worries about how big the taxes or how big the national debt is getting. Because every time we get a Democrat in, they're going to say we need to lower or raise taxes on people so that we can lower the national debt, that we have to keep borrowing from China and blah, 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 and that our children's children are going to have to deal with this debt and stuff. Like, all right, you want to sit here and be all, freaking out about the debt and how big it's getting, then tax the shit out of these multi-billionaires. Like, do that then. Absolutely do that. That way, they're getting all these free tax write-offs. They're getting all this free welfare money. It's not our tax money that they're giving to, but like I said, it's welfare money. It's free welfare money. And these guys are getting it for free, but then they're not taxing, or they're not getting taxed. And then when they have to fund something to help out whatever, America's doing, even though it's bad, they all think it's good. So he's like, all right, I'm going to help. And then he's like, oh, I can't afford it anymore. Sorry, you're going to have to start funding it now. Like, what a big fucking baby. And it's always about just, I can't do it anymore because I can't get any free money from you. literally welfare people that like us, the regular citizens that get welfare, they don't live like that. They don't be like, oh, I need more money, I need more money, I need more money, I need more money. No, they don't sit there and beg the government for more money all the time and then say like, oh, I can't afford this, sorry government, you're gonna have to take care of it. Like, hey, I just bought a new refrigerator, but I can't afford it anymore, so can you guys take care of it, government? Like, it's so stupid to me. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, the debt is the money that's invested in the economy. Absolutely. It's not like they can just print more money or mail everyone checks. Well, they technically could, but they don't want to. They're just being, they only print new money when it comes to like the military industrial complex. So yeah, it's crazy, but not for us regular people. Yeah. For those in the working poor, yeah, lower caste, we are taxed to death. Abso-fucking-lutely. And it's crazy to me too, like, because I'm, pretty much like not not like a shit liberal or a shit lib or anything like that, but I see myself very far extreme left. But then when it comes to like my state laws here in California, because I live in California, so obviously, as you know, we are taxed like out of fucking hand. Like when we hear like the gas national average is like $3-4, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen gas prices in $3 or $4 since like 2010. It's wild to me. Like it's been over a decade. It's been over 10 years since I've seen gas under $4. So but we're taxed. So and so me living here in California, it's like, even though I'm an extreme like leftist when it comes to my political views nationally, when it comes to my state views, I'm very conservative because I'm so tired of this state being taxed. So it's like, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this for the propositions. And I'm like, how much are we getting taxed? How much are we getting taxed? How much are we getting taxed? And everyone, I'm like, no, 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 no. And then I'll like say yes on the ones that we get taxed on that actually benefit society instead. So like we have a couple of them right now. Like one of them is they're wanting to like increase taxes so that they can like lower the age of gambling out here. Apparently, from what it seems like, they're wanting to allow gambling to be allowed like on apps, so that way these casino owners can make more money. And what these like few casino owners are saying is that this money is going to go into this large pool to help like homelessness and stuff. But then there's like the people in the indigenous communities that are saying like these are just a select few really rich natives that don't even care about us and they don't even think about us. They're pretty much capitalized themselves and turned themselves into capitalists, and they just want more money. So, but then that's like, they're wanting to like tax the people for it to be able to do that. So I'm like, no, we're not going to do this. But then there's like this dialysis thing too, as well. And so, it's like everything always has to do with taxes, but I'm definitely more conservative when it comes to state laws, because I do understand that my taxes fund these things. And it just never seems like what they say in the propositions when you're voting for them. Whether or not that, these taxes and stuff are actually going to go to where you think they're going to go to, like there's a lot of areas that feel like they're very well taken care of. They're definitely more of the rich areas out here in California. And then the poor places out here are extremely just not well taken care of. There's, the town that I grew up in, the Antelope Valley, which is like Lancaster, Palmdale, they've got like, 3 or 4 public schools, and there's, they're just not really well taken care of. There's a lot of violence, a lot of gangs, a lot of things like that out there. But then they want to say like, let's keep adding taxes for whatever to help fund these things, but then they never go to it. The one community college out there is definitely doing really well, but the community college is literally in the section of the rich people. I think our mayor lives like right around that area. So of course the college right there is going to get good, going to get good stuff. And like Quartz Hill High, that place is right there, the rich area. So that college or that high school is taken care of. But if you go to like AV High School, which is down in like Division Street in Lancaster, which is like pretty much the low end, the low area, the low income area. There's a lot of gangs over there. That's pretty much my old stomping grounds. And that school is horrible. Like the only thing that they did to make it better was put gates in the front, so that way that the kids couldn't leave the school while they were there. Like it was literally prisoned up. And that's what they did to the school, was just prison it up. So it's just, the taxes aren't going to the places that we want them to around here in California. And then we just get taxed the shit out of everything, like extra taxes because it's state tax. It's just wild to me. I'm not very conservative in my taxes when it comes to state laws, but definitely a little bit more conservative than I would be nationally when it comes to my money and my taxes. So you believe the issue in Cali is that they can't tax the rich at a higher rate, so they tax everyone higher. In order to change that, you need to edit the state constitution. I mean, the whole fucking country needs to do that. I think that needs to be a national issue for sure. I mean, yeah, we could take it state by state if we wanted to, especially in the ones that are extremely high tax, like California and New York, and I think Colorado too, Washington, Oregon, things like that, for sure. You have no issue in lowering the gambling age, drinking age. If you're old enough to consent to sex or enlist in the military, you're old enough to drink, smoke weed. Yeah, absolutely. But I think they should even raise the age for military. I don't think the kids should be going into the military at all. I don't think that should even be an option for people. So, yeah. But the only problem that it is, or that's going to do it, is that these indigenous casino owners are going around saying that they're wanting to like help out the homeless and stuff. But if you go into the indigenous communities, nobody really cares about what's happening to them, especially like out in the Mojave Desert and all of them that are still out there, that are living out there. They're not being taken care of. It just seems like what's happening is that these casino owners are just wanting to make more money. Just that's all it seems like is happening. So plus the fear of the what do you call it, the addiction of gambling. I've definitely met quite a few people who have lost everything from gambling. So when you can really get addicted to that stuff, and it can definitely ruin your life if you're not careful. So corporations and the rich used to pay most taxes, right? Yeah, but now it's the poor and working class paying most of the revenues collected. Yeah. I think it was like back in the 40s or 50s, I think that, or the 30s or 40s, I think corporations were paying up close to like above 50% in taxes. So when we continue watching, you'll see this one guy's only paying. Are you out of here? Okay, love you, bye. One guy in here, when we watch this video, I think he paid like 0.01% in taxes. So yeah, they funnel money from bills all the time, right? Taxes, fund spending in the state level. Yeah, exactly. Not on the national. That's why I'm a little bit more conservative about taxing things in my state when it comes to like state propositions and stuff. So yeah, I'm in favor of 18 being the age for everything. I'm libertarian on that, and I'd be in favor of France's alcohol policy. They have a lower rate of alcoholics because they don't make it taboo at age 10. I don't know. I mean, I understand, wanting to lower the age to 18. I totally get that. That's totally whatever with me. I mean, when I turned 18, it didn't stop me from drinking anyway. So of course, they were just wanting to let like kids on apps, like 13, 14, 15-year-olds being able to gamble online. And you don't have kids yet. So you don't know the fear of your kid finding your credit card and going on their phone with it. And then the next day you find a bill on your fucking credit card for $10,000. I'm just saying. Kids don't, if you're not old enough to even have a credit card or something, I don't think that you should be able to be spending money gambling on stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me that kids be gambling on their phones. I don't know. I have kids, so it's a little bit different for me, I guess. All right, let's continue watching.
PR. It's marketing. It's spin, baby. Let me tell you about a little place called Bentonville, Arkansas. So a few weeks back, I was booked to MC an event at Crystal Bridges Art Museum in Bentonville, a beautiful small town in northwestern Arkansas that also happens to be the home of one of the most lavish and expensive art museums in America. Why there? Well, a clue might be in the name you see emblazoned all over town, Walmart. Sam Walton opened the first Walmart store in Bentonville in 1962, and now that it's the largest retailer in the world, yes, larger than Amazon, its headquarters are still in Bentonville. Sam Walton is now dead, but his kids, the 11th, 12th, and 13th richest people in America, have poured money into the town. They've built miles of bike trails all around the surrounding area. They've preserved the beautiful, historic town square, and they've built a $200 million art museum. But that's not the only museum I visited in Bentonville that weekend. Housed in a replica of an old-fashioned five and dime store is the Walmart Museum, a monument to Sam Walton's humility and humble decency.
I don't understand how that's humility and humble decency. It so reminds me of Trump. It totally reminds me of a Trump thing to do. It's that I'm so rich that I'm full of myself and I need to make a museum of how humble I was and how, how just like the regular person I am, but he still, like praise me. It's so gross. Yeah, still opportunity costs associated with these donations. Absolutely. Yeah, of course. That would be great, Sherry. That would be interesting to hear your perspective on this. Because I'm just taking this as a newbie listening and, with the basic knowledge that I have. So I never work for Walmart. They do pay more than the places I work by a couple bucks, but they treat their workers like shite and they only pay more because they were pressured for years. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't go working at a Walmart. My sister, my mom, my godmother, a lot of people that I know have worked at Walmart. So it's not a great place to work at. And they kind of keep you in the same spot the whole time. They don't really update you or upgrade you. My mom's next door neighbor is the only person I ever know that went up to a really high position. But she's like a store manager in my old town. And she's been working there since like the early 90s. I think when I was a kid and we first moved next door to her, she was working at Walmart then. So yes, she still works at Walmart to this day and she's a store manager, but that's, 30 plus years of working with a company. So, and I think at that time it was like the 90s and the 2000s, they were like breaking down Walmarts and putting new ones up and making super Walmarts. Like where my town was, Walmart was just like changing places like girls change underwear. So, and building new buildings and then leaving the ones that were there just empty and unused. So exactly. It's an ego thing to make a museum of yourself, but you just wait to see it. Wait, you see it. It's like supposed to be how humble he is. Like, I'm so humble that I'd like to drive my old Ford truck instead of buying a new car. And here, let me put it on show for you guys. The truck that I drove around for years. It's so gross. I've heard they make you sing the Walmart theme song. I have no clue. That would suck. Oh God, no. That's America, work until you die. Absolutely.
They have an exact replica of his shabby home office, which actually brought a tear to my eye because it reminded me so strongly of my own grandfather's office when I was a kid. And according to this museum, Sam hated money so much that he drove a beat-up old truck. And to prove it, they put the beat-up old truck in the museum. Holy shit, swap the pickup for a Subaru and this could be the Patagonia Museum. Now, there's something a little perverse in building an entire museum to tell people how humble and thrifty you are, but it works. People in this town love the Waltons, and when I struck up a conversation with them, they talked about the Waltons like they were family. Because of the Waltons' investment, the population of Bentonville has sextupled. Property values have skyrocketed. Oh, and don't forget the world-class art museum they built in town, where Bentonville residents can chill out and look at a Rothko, listen to an artist of color give a talk, or visit one of Yayoi Kasuma's famous infinity rooms. When I was waiting in line for this exhibit, I overheard two teenagers talking about how they had never been to an art museum before. And hearing that, made my heart swell up. Like, this is a part of the country that has been left out of cultural investment for a century, and the Waltons are changing that. That is unequivocally a good thing. But there's also a deep irony in Bentonville that makes
but it might be a good thing because they're opening culture to these kids that have never been to a museum. But why is that okay that their very first museum they're going to is a Walmart museum, and how your heart swelled up for that? Gross. Absolutely disgusting. Come on. At least go to like a different museum. I don't know. Anything. My first museum was the Holocaust Museum in downtown LA. That shit was wild. Like the full on experience of just the Holocaust. Like they even had like a life-size replica of like the gas chambers and they sat you in there and like closed the doors on you and then a video popped up on the TV. This shit was nuts. All the shoes, like they had this big old pile of shoes of people that didn't make it. It was a huge pile of shoes. That's a fucking museum to go to. I'm telling you.
Almost creepy because even though the Waltons have preserved this perfect American small town, they only had the money to do so because they have destroyed the downtowns of so many other cities in America. According to a 2008 study from MIT, Walmart was responsible for 40 to 50% of the decline in small discount stores like the ones their museum was built to resemble. Other researchers found that when Walmart comes to town, it correlates with increased obesity, higher crime rates, and lower overall employment in that area. And this proves that the narrative Sam Walton spun about himself, that he never cared about money. He was just a humble guy who loved giving back. Well, it was bullshit. There are no accidental billionaires. The only way to make that kind of money is on purpose. This dude devoted his life to building the biggest, most profitable company he could, and then he used that money to tell a sweet and cuddly story about himself to distract from all the evil shit he did. And even though I don't think the average Patagonia wearer is a big fan of Walmart, it bears pointing out how closely the story Chenard tells about himself resembles Walton's. The reluctant billionaire rock climber who doesn't care about money, drives a beat-up old car, and loves giving back is a great story. But it's also marketing, and Chenard tells it because it benefits him and Patagonia to do so. I mean, how many made in Vietnam puffer vests have they sold over the years because somebody looked at them and said, hey, he's the good billionaire, I'm gonna help him save the planet. Hell, if you go to Patagonia.com right now, they are using that story to sell you more overpriced crap. But look, none of this is new. The truth is that billionaires have been telling this story about themselves since the first proto-capitalist took his first quivering steps out of the money swamp. Let's do a quick review of the Billionaire Bullshit Hall of Fame. Mark Zuckerberg got incredible headlines when he said he was donating his fortune to charity in 2015. Then it turned out the charity was just an LLC he controls that invests in for-profit businesses. For years, people have described Bill Gates as saving the world. He even made his own Netflix documentary about what a generous genius he is. Of course, that's before we learned he's a serial sexual harasser who became best buddies with Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted of sex crimes. Bill was like, oh, this dude's a sex offender? Well, what's he doing Thursday? And finally, Warren Buffett.
Like, that's crazy to me. Like, we were talking about that earlier, how everybody wanted to, get the free gift from Bill Gates because everybody loved Bill Gates at the time, Hey! Daddy Bill. So it's crazy to me. And then, of course, a lot of us now know too, like he became friends with Jeff Epstein. He was really close with Jeff Epstein. Like, you're not a good dude. It's disgusting. So, oh yeah. And then Warren Buffett, like, here we go too, like another one.
Oh, decades of PR have described as so saintedly frugal that websites post listicles about how you can live as cheaply as him, with tips like eat a cheap breakfast. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I ate Egg McMuffins all day, it wouldn't make me a billionaire. I'd just have a heart attack. I mean, this article literally says that Warren Buffett clips coupons. No, he fucking doesn't. Are you trying to tell me that Warren fucking Buffett gets up on a Tuesday, goes and gets the newspaper off his porch, takes out the advertising section and a pair of scissors and says, oh, look, Skippy is on sale? Fuck you. How gullible do you think we are? You know how Warren really saves money?
Extremely gullible. They think we really are that gullible because I'm pretty sure people would probably think that. So
by not paying his taxes. When ProPublica got a leak of billionaire tax returns, Buffett was found to pay the least of any of his fellow plutocrats. Dude made $24 billion between 2014 and 2018 and paid a true tax rate of 0.1%. Even greedy little piggies like Bezos and Musk can't touch that. Instead of paying the public the money he owes us,
there's the taxes. That's how much they're paying in taxes, but we're getting taxed the shit out of us.
has famously pledged to give away his money to charity. Which charity, you might ask? Oh, just the one his buddy Bill runs with the ex-wife he cheated on. Wow. Billionaires donating to billionaires brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it? Now, if all of this weren't enough for you, it becomes piercingly clear that the entire concept of billionaire charity is bullshit when you look at where it originated. In the Gilded Age of the late 19th century, the OG evil monopolist Andrew Carnegie wrote an essay called The Gospel of Wealth, in which he famously argued that it's the responsibility of the wealthy to give away their fortunes during their lifetimes. He even argued that it's the duty of a rich man to set an example of modest, unostentatious living, shunning display or extravagance. So Chenard and Walton weren't radicals by driving beat-up old cars. They were literally taking their instructions from Daddy Carnegie. Now, critically, Carnegie argued for that kind of charity because he believed that the system that gave him such unimaginable wealth was a good thing and that it was inevitable. It was just the way of the universe. But even at the time, in the late 19th century, Americans knew that this was bullshit. They knew that Carnegie's wealth was the result of a broken system. And that
Right. That's because people were working tons and tons of hours for practically nothing. Kids were working. They weren't even going to school. Children were working, from like age 5 and shit. So yeah, of course, like these multi-billionaire rich people at the time thought that everything was going good because their life was going good. They don't want to look outside of their own bubble that they have. But the people that were actually living that life were not well at all. So it was just this fake thing. So they probably pretended to humble themselves in these papers and this public face to try to get people to think, oh, he's just like us. He's helping instead of just taking and hoarding all the money. But in all reality, they actually behind the scenes and loopholes and stuff were hoarding the money.
Expense of the customers he gouged, the workers he exploited, and the political system he dominated. A political system that ensured workers had no right to organize, no minimum wage, and allowed plutocrats to hire thugs to beat the shit out of them whenever they asked for their fair share. Carnegie's Gilded Age concealed a rot at the core of the economy. And in the years after his death, the country went through a little something called the Great Depression. Turns out letting so much wealth accumulate in so few hands wasn't a great idea. The New Deal that Franklin Delano Roosevelt launched in response was strongly influenced by progressive reformers who were alarmed at the excesses of Gilded Age plutocrats like Carnegie. Roosevelt introduced stronger labor protections, a minimum wage, strong antitrust enforcement so that monopolies couldn't form, and perhaps most importantly, a high level of taxation on the wealthy. And it worked. The labor movement flourished, which led directly to the creation of the American middle class. Average Americans, average white Americans anyway, were able to make a living wage, save for retirement, and build wealth of their own. Wealthy people still existed, and they were still able to make money, but the age of titanic billionaires running the country as their personal empires seemed to be over. If you're trying to remember who the Mark Zuckerberg of the 1950s was, I'll give you a hint. There wasn't one. But over the following decades, starting in the 70s and 80s, the policies that created this incredible level of prosperity started to be dismantled. Deregulation of the financial industry, weakened antitrust enforcement.
And that's it was like the whole thing happened behind the scenes to where people were just living their good life and they thought everything was going to stay the way that was, not realizing that these rich people behind the scenes were like, nah, we can't deal with this anymore. We want it the way that we want it, back to the way that it was. And now here we are again. It's like almost like this we're going to have like this fluctuation back and forth of fighting against it and then them fighting behind the scenes to get it back. So they're never going to want to give it up. Yeah, France is a riot, or is a clusterfuck of riots and crackdowns. Jesus, I bet. They fucking riot though. Those yellow vests was amazing.
Tax cuts, welfare reduction, and the gutting of the labor movement all contributed to skyrocketing inequality. Most people, average Americans, saw their wages stagnate or fall. But the rich did well And the very rich did very well. And the obscenely rich did obscenely fucking well. And the result is that today, the top 0.1% own nearly as much wealth as the bottom 90%. Today, we are living in a new gilded age in which billionaires are allowed to amass massive wealth and then convert it into political power tax-free so they can run the country while everyone else suffers. And it's an age in which we swallow the same tired myth over and over again, that these billionaires are humble, they don't really like money, and that they're heroes for giving it away in ways that just happen to increase their own power. And the purpose of this myth, this lie, is to distract us from the fact that this system is bad for the planet and disastrous for our society. So no, I'm not going to applaud Chenard for donating his money to the planet. Instead, I think we need to demand policies that prevent guys like him from amassing so much money to begin with, and that put power back in the hands of the people where it belongs. And I promise, if we do that, and we can do it because we have done it before, you can keep your jacket. Hell, you can get a few more jackets. Maybe you'll even be able to afford an actual trip to Patagonia instead of wearing it on a logo you bought at the mall. Hey guys, this is the first YouTube video I've done like this.
He is kind of right there. It would be nice to be able to just go to somewhere instead of buying a shirt that says that. So yeah, no, he's right. They need to, the money needs to be just, yeah. Everything he said is good. Sorry, I'm still like half asleep today. Yeah, Adam just ruined billionaires. Exactly. Exactly. It was a really good one. I really enjoyed watching that this weekend. So, okay, the con is having an online DC march. Interesting. That's cool. Very interesting. All right, what else do we got? I am just feeling like crap today. I'm sorry, you guys. What else have I not gone through yet? Okay, 2 more things. And then I'm probably going to get off a little early today because I don't feel good. All right. So another one from Amber today. Thank you for hooking me up. Ooh, thank you for hooking me up with this, Amber. This was actually just released yesterday. Okay, cool. Thank you, Amber. Let me pull this up. So yesterday this was released. It looks as though, I'm sorry for what this is. God damn it. I don't want to put this on my show. Let me see if I can find another version that's not off of TYT. Oh, so this was like 5 days ago or like a week ago. Okay, interesting. Okay, we're just gonna have to watch it. I don't know what to tell you guys. We're just gonna have to watch this TYT stuff.
A daycare.
It's looking like it's TYT. It says TYT at the bottom. That's TYT, right, you guys? It just looks so newsy. It's weird. 2 former Georgia daycare employees have been charged with child abuse after they were accused of spraying chemicals in their faces and routinely harming children at Robins Air Force Base in Warner Robins, wherever that is. Dr. Rashad Ritchie and Jeff Wiggins discuss on Indisputable. Tell us what you think. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is this TYT? It looks like it. But then it's also got like this newsy feel to it too. So I don't know. We'll just watch it.
According to an indictment, decided to spray children in the face with chemicals, make them fight each other, engage in direct abuse, and more. This was at a daycare in an Air Force base in Warner Robins, Georgia. Let's put up the picture of their very festive literature. 3 formerly employed women of an Air Force-based daycare in Warner Robins, Georgia, have all been indicted for alleged child abuse. According to the Department of Justice, a federal grand jury returned a 30-count indictment charging 2 former employees and the former director of a daycare facility located on Robins Air Force in Warner Robins, Georgia, with charges related to the alleged child abuse. So let me give you some background on these former employees. Zanae Kiana Flynn, 27 years of age, from Centerville, Georgia, is charged with 18 counts of cruelty to children in the first degree, 6 counts of cruelty to children in the second degree, 3 counts of simple battery, and 1 count of failure to report suspected child abuse. There's more. Antonisha Monet Fritz, 29 years of age, of Tanner, Alabama, is charged with 18 counts of cruelty to children in the first degree, 6 counts of cruelty to children in the second degree, 3 counts of simple battery, and 1 count of failure to report suspected child abuse. And the former daycare worker, Latona Mae Lambert, 51 years of age, of Kissimmee, Florida. Okay? Charged with 1 count of failure to report suspected child abuse. Knew about it, according to the indictment. The indictment alleges a variety of felony cruelty charges against children. This was committed during January and February of 2021. The charges allege various forms of abuse did in fact take place, to include striking children, causing children to fight each other, forcing them to hit each other, spraying them in the face with cleaning liquid, seizing and shaking a child while threatening to strike them, striking a child in the head with a book, kicking them to the wall and stepping on and applying weight to their legs.
I mean, what kind of people does this at a daycare? I mean, what do you think, because they're like Air Force children, they're military children, that they can handle this kind of thing? Or are you just like not supposed to be dealing with children and you think you can handle them and now you just lost fucking control, bitch? Like you these ladies are out of hand. How are they able to get away with this kind of stuff? How are any child daycare people allowed to get away with this kind of stuff? It's just absolutely shocking to me. It really makes you terrified of even wanting to put your kids into things like this. You know, and you're, as a parent, you pay for this too. Like your payment each month is what's keeping that daycare alive and working and running. And this is the way that they treat your kids, you know? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's probably free because it's on an Air Force base for this one, but what about the ones that aren't, you know? The traumatization, the trauma that they give these children. I saw one school where like this woman just recently got fired because she brought in like a scary mask to school and like wore it in front of the children and told them all to behave and was like screaming in their faces. Like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, it just makes me wonder, like, is this how you treated your own children? And no wonder like my generation and the younger generation has like mental problems and anxiety and depression and shit like that. Like, this is the kind of parenting that we got, you know? This is the kind of shit. Or they're just like women who don't have children who are super jealous and we're like, oh yeah, I'll babysit. It's wild to me that they're allowed to do or get away with this kind of stuff. I mean, they're obviously not getting away with it. They're in a lot of fucking trouble, but holy shit, like you just don't expect this.
Were also accused of committing simple battery against children, with the indictment alleging that they lifted a cot with a child sleeping on it, causing the child to fall on the ground, struck a toy out of a child's hand, and then forced the child into a small enclosure and sprayed 2 children in the head and face with cleaning solution. Lambert, Flynn, and Fritz are each charged with 1 count of failing to report suspected child abuse, and they did not notify proper authorities of the abuse after allegedly witnessing it or have reason to suspect that it was occurring. Meanwhile, the child care page on the base's site has at the very bottom, let's put this up. It says right there, child abuse and neglect It is the policy of the Family Child Care Program that any suspected abuse or neglect be referred to the base Family Advocacy Office, and they provide the information. A statement from the base has also been released. They say, and I quote, the Air Force Base said in a statement, properly caring for our airmen and their families is of utmost importance. Our airmen should have confidence in the care provided to our Child Development Center, the statement added. We are fully supporting the ongoing investigation and reviewing processes to ensure the appropriate measures are in place to safeguard our children. The DOJ is still investigating. This is an ongoing investigation, according to them. Parents and guardians of children who are under the care of the defendants that have concerns about their child are encouraged to contact the Robins Air Force Base Family Advocacy Program at 478-327-8398 during regular business hours. Per the United States.
That's good that they're doing stuff, and the Air Force is trying to get some, the DOJ in and try to figure out what the hell happened over there. But I can't believe that it actually happened. That's what was shocking to me. This is the stuff people used to understand. We've forgotten about it because we fell for neoliberalism, right? Absolutely. Yeah, it's clear we need a new deal for sure. Absolutely. Need a new deal.
Department of Justice. Stories like this boil my blood. Children, there is nothing a child can do. Nothing a child can do. We will highlight these stories.
I keep skipping because I don't care about his own certain opinions on things, because it's TYT. So I was just kind of skipping through. But every time I skipped through, he had his pause in between. He does a lot of pauses, takes a lot of breaks. It's a weirdo. It's so funny. He's super serious, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. It's so funny. But I guess that's the story on that. Let me see if I can find anywhere else that's talking about it. I mean, most of them in here that are on this are extremely short. So this one, okay. This is the one I was telling you guys about.
Welcome back to Sidebar.
Let me look for more of the video, but that's the one I was telling you about where they wore a scary mask and try to make the kids listen by wearing this scary mask. And literally terrified the children. Look at that. You don't know what kids are scared of what, and how kids are terrified. You don't know this kind of stuff. So why would you even try to do this to little children?
Of it. I didn't think about Ryan. Florina, I know the sheriff says
how can you not understand that the whole fucking class is sitting there crying? The whole damn class is sitting there crying, and this lady's just sitting there videotaping it as if nothing is going on, it's just some cool thing for them to do. Here's another one.
Because I suspect that's exactly what the sheriff is looking into with this prior complaint. So the question now becomes, what other issues existed? Is this a pattern of ongoing behavior? Perhaps there's other videos maybe on social media. Perhaps there's reports that were filed internally. Maybe there have been complaints to their local Department of Health. And potentially as a result, if this is an ongoing pattern, if these employees are being hired negligently, if they're not being properly supervised, the licensing that this daycare center
Yes, they're
has
not
could
being
be taken
supervised.
away.
I think the hiring is all
They may
bad.
need to shut down depending on what it is that's going on. Of course, if this is a purely isolated incident, maybe they'll be fined, maybe they'll be reprimanded, and that'll be the end of that. But if it's more than an isolated incident, which knowing now that there's a second video from before, potentially this really could be an ongoing pattern of poor supervision.
You want to hear something even worse? Yeah, Warren, like Mother of the Year. So apparently the girl that brought the mask in, like, did a whole TikTok or something. Like, she was saying something about, like, how she doesn't think that she did anything wrong and that she's super upset that she's losing her job and that she's getting fired from this place because of it. Yeah, it was like she didn't even, like, realize what she did was wrong in this whole situation. I think it's the girl that's in the mask right here. She did, like, a whole TikTok about it. She's pretty fucking bad.
Of their own employees.
Are these kids so young that maybe you hope they just get past it and don't remember it, or could this be something since you've worked with?
This is traumatizing. For sure has to be traumatizing for these children. I mean, if they're old enough to go to school, then they're old enough to remember things. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like, the kind of trauma that you think of like getting into a car wreck and shit, but like flashbacks that like, grown-ups get. But I'm pretty sure like those kids are probably going to have nightmares, probably have this like subconscious fear of masks, probably, or maybe teachers, because of it. Yeah, this is absolutely like lifelong stuff for these kids. And that's what these teachers, for being a teacher, you should completely understand that. If you've gone to any kind of schooling for being a teacher, you should understand that. So you should never even thought about doing this. But
is this something, even though it might not fit into the realm,
they're running away? It's so difficult to fully understand the impact that it has on children that young, because children that young may not be fully verbal. They may be somewhat verbal, but lack the ability to form sentences and properly express emotions. And so we never will know the full effect of this. I would not be surprised if they're having nightmares. I would not be surprised if they're uncomfortable anytime someone opens a closet door now. And it's really unfortunate that the adults who are in this position of taking care of this vulnerable young population made the conscious choice to do what perhaps they thought was fun in the moment, and really grossly disregarded the duty that they have to the children that are placed in their care.
It's actually very stunning. And we have, 4 employees who the TV station down there, WTVA, is reporting were fired. But, we can tell there are at least 3 involved. Whoever's holding the camera, we don't know if that's one of the people who was fired, but, you've got other daycare employees in the room. So I just can't imagine being the parent. If this was my child in that room, or my children were in that room, I would have a really hard time.
And depending on the resources available and depending on the financial resources of the parents, some parents really have no other option. Working parents who need to go to work need a place to put their toddler before their school age. And unfortunately, sometimes the only place to put their toddler, if they don't have other family members who are available and able to take care of the child, is whatever place has an opening. Some daycare centers are booked out years in advance. And so you're either traveling 45 minutes in the opposite direction of where your job is to a daycare center that has availability, or you're going to the one place that still has an opening, which, may have an opening for a reason. No one else wants to
she's
go there.
so goddamn right about that. Oh my God, she is so right about that. Oh, the stress of having to find a place for your child to go so that you can pay the bills and the rent to make sure that you and your child still have a roof over your head is probably one of the hardest things to do as a single mom, next to, everything that you have to do. But that is such a hard thing, because either you go to a place that you really, really like and end up finding out that it's super expensive just to even have your kid to go, or you are traveling outside or farther away from where your job is just to be able to take your kid to where they need to go, to, you know, that kind of daycare thing. Or there's one with an opening immediately, and there's usually a reason behind it, like it's um low staff, or they're, you know, like you notice like maybe the bathrooms don't work. Like there's usually something wrong with those places, something, you know, there's not enough toys, there's like no reading books or something. It's wild, that people don't understand the kind of things that women have to go through when they're looking for these kind of things. And then like the one, you know, that we just saw about in the Air Force Base too, like it's wild to me that like kids are having to deal with this kind of stuff while still having to live their life and you know, try to just at least survive, you and your family survive. So let's see what else we've got. Here's one. A mother details her experience. That should be interesting.
On allegations of child cruelty at a child care facility at Robins Air Force Base, with 2 women now facing more than a dozen charges each. Now that those allegations have surfaced, one woman says she has a similar story. Kalisha Moore tells you the story and what the woman believes needs to change in tonight's top story.
We trust these people to be with our children, you know.
But Jennifer Clinton says the trust she had for Robins Air Force Base child care quickly shattered.
One day, something just told me, look at the cameras. So I looked at the cameras, and I went to walk out, and I stopped, and I was like, no, go back.
She says what she saw back in 2019 shocked her. A clear video on monitors near the facility that seemed to show Clinton's 2-year-old and her classmates being encouraged to fight.
One hit her in the back of the head, and the other hit her in her back. And I was like, oh, that's odd. So I watched to see if the teacher was going to do anything. And she said something again, and the little girls are like looking at her. And at that time, the other little girl pulled up her hand to hit her again. And I ran down the hall and grabbed her out of there.
Clinton's story matches some of the complaints in the indictment against Zanae Flynn and Antonisha Fritz. They're the Robins Air Force Base child care workers accused of abusing police support.
She actually saw it on camera live of that worker like egging those kids on to hit each other, like fighting. That's, oh my God.
Kids. That indictment alleges the 2 women encouraged fighting, hit children with books, and sprayed cleaning liquid in their faces.
I called security forces myself. This is like minutes after the incident, and I had to call my husband up there, the whole nine. And security forces got there, and they're trying to do their investigation. Well, then it goes up to the chief. I never heard anything else.
According to the Department of Defense, child care staff must complete a minimum of 24 hours per year of training against child abuse. Staff also do not use corporal punishment or negative discipline that hurt, humiliate, or frighten children.
It's not just a statewide issue, it's a nationwide issue with all these bases, these Army posts, everything. So it's not going to get better unless leadership does something about it.
In Warner Robins, Kalisha Moore, 13 WMAZ News.
Yeah, I mean,
it
could possibly be like a nationwide thing. I mean, I don't know much about childcare on bases. I know like business. What is it? See, because my problem with like the Air Force Base that I graduated high school from and grew up in and ended up owning a business on and stuff, it wasn't with childcare. I just know that like they don't care, like the bases don't care about the businesses on base. So like you've got on bases, you've got like the military building businesses that have to do like with Air Forces, it has to do with like anything airplanes, anything that has to do with, you know, planes and airplanes and flight. A lot of the businesses out there, like the buildings are like next to flight lines, so that has to do with the military. But then like there's sections in bases where it's like, you know, if you live on base, you still have like this little mini town or a town that you can go to and go shopping, and you know, they offer pretty much the same as like civilian outside of bases, like our normal towns and stuff, just tax-free stuff. So you can go to like restaurants, fast food. They have like what they call like a BX, which is like a grocery store. They even have like a clothing store. Pretty minimal, like not too much. I know like even like the Marine base out in San Diego, Pendleton has a Walmart inside of there. So, but like the one that I'm used to, like the Edwards Air Force Base, or they would have like a thrift store, but the thrift store was free. You could just take whatever you wanted as long as you just kept donating to the place as well. So like that's just what it is like you just get a lot of hookups for being fit. But there's towns and stuff. So with those businesses, and then the military itself owns those businesses, and then you pay them rent to rent out the thing every month. And so that's where my problem with the military bases was I owned a business on base. It was an auto detail business. It was like a 2-story garage with like one of those really big like roll up like shed door things, you know, like those huge metal doors that like roll up into a Tootsie Roll at the top, or like a ho-ho at the top, and you got to like pull the chain. So it was one of those, but it was attached to an auto shop that helped fix cars and also a gas station. So we were all like, you know, everybody owned their little piece of the business. And there was 1 month where, because I had owned, I was co-owning the business with my buddy Ricky, who also was running the golf course on the base. So what he did is he pretty much just bought out the business, gave it to me, let me run it while he did the golf course stuff. So that way we were just kind of both doing stuff during the day. And so there was 1 month after I'd already been working there for about a year and a half and doing everything that I needed to do there, which I was being gypped by them all the time on the base. Like they constantly, you know, gypped me. So whenever like the cars, like the work trucks for Edwards Air Force Base, for the base itself, they would have to get a monthly cleaning. It was required of them to get a monthly cleaning. They would come to us for it, but the card that they would use had one extra number, like the credit card had one extra number than what normal credit cards used, like normal people's credit cards. So for each time that they came in, and there was thousands of them, each time they came in, they would use that card. And so I would, at the end of the day, would have to call this special number to get a civilian approved card that goes with that number. And then I would have to call the bank and put that charge into it with that number instead. It was so much hell. And a lot of the times they never answered. They never helped. I think out of the 2 years that I owned the business, they only did like 1 week's worth of payment back for those cards. Out of 2 years of washing them, I've only gotten 1 week from them. So they gypped me out of a lot of money. And then there was 1 month where I was super busy that month. There was just a lot of things going on, especially because I not only owned that business, but I also went to work at nighttime as well. And then I had to take my kid to school in the mornings. And then be there for her when she got out of school. It was just a lot going on. And so I had given him the money to pay the rent for that month. And for some reason, I guess he ended up never paying it, because like the next 2 months I was just paying rent like normal. And one day I got called into this back room of this building with them. They called me that like I went into my business, and like some dude, I had no idea who he was sitting behind my desk with all of my stuff there. And I was like, who the hell are you? Why are you here? And he's like, you need to go over to this building. You can't work here. So I went over to the building, and this lady's like, yeah, come into this come into this room right here. And so she sat me down, and all of a sudden just this big burly dude comes in, you know, sunglasses, got the suit on and everything, you know, totally looking like a man in black kind of thing. And stands in the back corner of the room, and she's like, you can't own this business anymore. You missed a month's rent. You didn't pay this month, and you either give us the money right now, like the full amount of month's rent right now, or you're never going to have your business again. You can't even go in there and get all the stuff that you brought from home. Or I was like, I have stuff that I brought from home in that business. Like, okay, for one, I didn't even know that he didn't pay. And for two, I don't have that kind of money right now. Like I would need to, you know, gather up that kind of money. And And for 3, like, all of my stuff was at that business. And like literally things that I had bought with my own money, things that I had brought from home, like, a futon that I had brought from my own house. So that way people had somewhere to sit and hang out while I was washing their car. It's just, little things like that. And she's like, no, you can't have any of that stuff. And so I think she brought the guy in there was so just in case like I freaked out and got violent or something, he could probably shoot me. So I fucking just cried, and I knew that he was going to be there to kill me if I try to do anything. So I just walked out and cried, went there to my business, went in there, took a bunch of video, told the guy, fuck you. I don't even like you. You're a fucking piece of shit. Couldn't take anything. He wouldn't let me take a fucking thing out of there. And I left the base, and to this day, I've never gone back to it. So that's a long story. Definitely not anything to do with like, the children, the daycare thing, but the lack of care that they have for the civilian population of that area definitely shows in bases, in all situations, all shapes and forms. After that, I end up finding out that they had opened a Firestone tire company on base, which offered a car wash, like one of those drive-through ones. So I had a feeling that they were probably trying to get rid of me anyway and didn't want me there. I was definitely a stripper at the time too, at nighttime, a dancer. So what I would do is I would try to give these dancers extra jobs so that way they can just have a little bit more income. So I would only hire the girls that I danced with to come and work with me during the day. Of course, we would look really cute, little short shorts, tank tops, things like that, to try to, entertain the soldiers, I guess you would call it, as we would call it at the time, just entertain the soldiers. I would always say we would feed the bots. That's what I always said. We'd feed the bots. But it was just something good for us girls to have as an extra income, especially some of us moms who were dancing at nighttime and wanted some more money. So, I knew that because we were known as that and we were doing that, I'm pretty sure that they didn't want us there anyway. So just the lack of care of the military industrial complex and the military system of regular people, it definitely shows. And it definitely showed with this whole situation with the children too. So long story, very, very long. Sorry about that. I just wasted like 13 minutes on that story alone. So I will be clipping that out later. Not to use or anything, but I guess just to leave out. So my last story before the time comes, it looks like we got about 45 minutes left. So I think it should be just enough time to be able to watch all of this stuff. Because there's definitely multiple videos. This guy did an entire thread on Twitter about this this weekend. His name is Guard Hunter. I don't know who the hell he is. I'm not following him or anything. It just seems like he's the one that's came out with it. So this girl, she is known on Twitch as Amouranth. She is also known, I believe she's a porn star, definitely sex worker. She's one of the girls on Twitch that started the hot tub live streams. She also has an OnlyFans. So she, from what we've all known, we've been thinking like slay queen, like this girl makes a butt ton of money, like a lot of money. I heard that she was raking in like 500,000 or 500 million to about, or 500,000 to about $1 million a month, just from doing this stuff alone. To the point to where even there's a boy who used to do Minecraft who now dresses like a girl because he makes so much money. He decided to try it out, ended up finding like this, this little fan base that's enjoying him dressing up like a girl, and he makes so much money and donates it and helps out people and things like that. But he, he's the guy that figured it out, a guy version of turning, doing all of that. So this is what she does. She makes a ton of money. Like she practically lives my dream life. She's so rich. It's ridiculous. But she's pretty much figured out the algorithm. She's figured out the trick of the internet, and a lot of us girls were extremely, there's a lot of people that hate her. Of course, because with a lot of popularity comes a lot of hate. A lot of people say that she's not really a streamer or anything like that. She's just, a porn girl who's getting away with things on the internet. So during this weekend, she got into an argument, or she was already in an argument with her husband. And so during this argument, he had thought that she was had stepped away from the camera, that she wasn't on screen. So he decided that he was going to go off on her like he normally does, probably when the screens are off and the cameras aren't on. And so she decided to hit the unmute button while he was going off on her, which ended up revealing how verbally abusive this guy absolutely is to her. It's really hard to kind of hear some of the things that he was talking about and the manipulation and the gaslighting that he was doing. So it started off with him saying something to her earlier in the day. She did not hear what he had said, so she didn't think that he had said anything. And so that's where kind of the argument starts, is like him thinking that she's not listening or not hearing him. So what he did is he threatened to murder her dog, so that, or unalive her dog, so that he could catch her attention. I guess that's what he did, was say that so that he could get her attention. But it got her attention. She's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, how are the fuck you even saying this kind of thing? And so he just kind of doubles down on the gaslighting and everything. And so there's a whole thread of it, like just the whole thread of them talking, the screenshots or of text messages that he sends to her, the things that he did, the way that he controls everything, the way that he threatens to ruin her entire career just because of this one fight, because she didn't hear him. So we'll get started and watch this. So this says Amouranth has revealed that she has a husband, along with revealing his abuse. That's another thing too that we'll probably talk about a little later, is the fact that these asshole dudes are going around saying like they're not even worried about the fact that she has an abusive husband. They're like pissed off at the fact that she lied and said and is married, and everybody's been giving her all this money. But we'll get into it a little bit later, because there's a thing that goes with that too. So he's threatened to kill her dogs, take all their money, and forced her to stream. Another thing too that we're finding out, that this is like not something that even she wanted to do herself. This was something that he kind of forced her to do to make a bunch of money. And now he's like holding it over her head and threatening her with it, now that she's actually making really good money and enjoying it and, doing good for herself because of it. So, all right, let's watch.
Why did you say you were going to kill my dogs?
Leave the house.
Okay, I can leave the. You know what? Actually, I shouldn't leave the house because my dogs are here.
We'll take the dogs and leave. You're asking the question. I'm telling you, and you're interrupting my fucking telling you, literally.
What are you saying? You just told me you were going to kill dogs if I didn't do a 24-hour stream.
Nope, did not say that. Now you're just fucking being a liar.
I'm not.
I said I'm going to tell you what I said in terms of the earlier. You're saying you did not say that.
I tried to tell you what I heard from you. And then you called me a liar.
Then you tell me, what did you say?
What are you even talking about? You brought up the dogs out of nowhere.
Exactly.
So what point is it improving?
See? You're proving my point right now.
What? I'm asking you this. I don't even understand what you're saying to me.
I know. That's my point. My point is, are you listening or not? If you're not, then get the fuck out.
I'm literally listening, but you're not making any sense.
Well, no, you're not listening, because it makes perfect sense. I'm going to say it one more time. If you don't get it, I need you to get the fuck out.
Wild, right? Like the gaslighting and shit. I mean, I know it's a little cut, but holy fuck. All right. So here's the next one.
The therapist even told him that it's a form of like psychological abuse, and that I'm basically living in a fancy prison. And then he was changed for a bit, and then the hot tub meta arose, and he was like, oh, this is an opportunity. And then he turned into an asshole again when I agreed to commit to the grind because it was a good financial opportunity for us. I've been wanting to tell people that, like, let's just stream together. Just tell them that we're fucking married, because it's like our relationship would be better if we just stream them. And it's fighting all the time. But no, mister, don't say that because it's going to ruin the business model. It's not time yet. Fuck yourself. I'm done with it. I'm not going to fuck you anymore. You want me to tell them I'm single? It's about to be true, piece of shit. The therapist even told him that it's a
Right, girl? Like, you need to get the fuck out of there. I mean, if your therapist is telling you that that's a form of emotional manipulation, then yeah, get the fuck out. Like, obviously he's the one that started her doing it, and now he's the one that's being super controlling of her, and then, you know, not allowing her to, you know, like they were saying, a fancy prison. And then she's like wanting to give it away that she's married and just be on stream instead of fighting all the time, be on stream together. And he's the one that's saying, no, 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 this is our business, probably because he's got access to, like, well, it is because he has access to all of her accounts and everything like that. Like, he's got all this money. He's living the good life. He's probably doesn't even have a job himself. He's probably some loser. So in that part, it says he forced her to continue saying she was single and commit to being a hot tub streamer. So that was that part. And then another part is that he threatened to leave her with only $1 million and to burn everything on crypto. The terrifying part is that he has control over all of her accounts.
I'm gonna leave you with 1 million and I'm gonna take the rest because I worked harder than you. It's like, and if you don't agree, then I'm gonna burn it all in court. I'm gonna put it all in fucking crypto. Blah. Just always threats, always threats. All the fucking accounts are like two-factor under his number, and he has all like the login information of things, you know. It's like keeps you there with the fear and the threats. You fear that he's gonna do something to your animals. And then he's nice again and says everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna leave you with 1 million and I'm gonna take the rest.
Definitely an abusive person, obviously, because, you know, that's exactly that atypical thing where they're really abusive and then they're like super, super nice again once they get their way. So yeah, it just seems like that's the way that he's doing it. Here's some more.
It's like, the next time when I say plan, do it. Dumb fuck, do you understand? Like, what plan talking about? It's like, fuck this, I'm calling you. So I disappeared from stream. Take the call. So I can't, I'm gonna tell them I can't talk right now. We're getting Wi-Fi. I don't care. You get the call now. Last chance. About to dump your luggage. You know, from my hotel room. But throwing your stupid merch off the balcony. Proceeding to ditch your stuff. You don't need the makeup or the live view, like the stream epic, or the clothes, huh? Deleting social media in 1 minute. Buying options that expire and blasting the cash. About to shut down the bank account, your bank account too. Lag is terrible. Stream is garbage. It's like, about to delete Twitter in 30 seconds. If you don't call me, your phone's literally off, right? I'm just like, it literally died. Gonna donate $250,000 to Polo Missy. It's like a bird sanctuary he likes. In the next 2 minutes, it's like, the next time when I say plan, do it. Dumb
He's
fuck,
like,
do you understand?
He's like completely just like spending all their cash. Like, read right here, like, gonna donate $250,000 to Pelosi in next 2 minutes. 250,000 gone. I will donate 500,000 in 5 minutes. If no call in 1 minute, I will absolutely make sure Kyran goes to a meat packing house. Kyran is her horse, by the way, just so you know. So he was threatening to send her horse to a meat packing facility. Then he says 20 seconds, time's up, 750,000 gone. We now cannot do a down payment for the Cali house. Another 250,000 in 5 minutes. I'm about to tweet you. I'm about to tweet about you swatting me. I guess because she called the cops on him. And so he called it swatting, more gaslighting. Literally more gaslighting. Is there, I thought there was some more videos. I mean, there's so much more in the internet about this as well. Let's see if he's got any more stuff on this. All right, latest update on Amouranth. People on the team were able to talk to her and say she's fine. Police went multiple times since 5 a.m. yesterday. She says she's okay, so they can't do much. She spent all day talking to her husband to sort things out. Not sure what else we can do right now. Damn. So she went back to him. That's bullshit. I mean, you can't help out someone that doesn't want to be helped out. So this is a Kyran right here. That's her horse. Beautiful fucking horse. So fucking beautiful. The one that he's threatened to send to a meatpacking house when she didn't answer the phone. Let's see what else. Is there anything else on this? Imagine being such a disgusting. Oh yeah, this is the Keemstar. So like some of the people out there were absolutely ridiculous. Like Twitter kind of went, there was like a back and forth between, supporting her and then people not supporting her. And this is one of the worst ones I've seen. So there's this guy on YouTube named Keemstar. He's kind of like the non-political version of like, I don't know, Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin and all of that. So he's just a regular YouTuber who's just disgusting. So instead of worrying about her safety and worrying about her, this is the thing that he decided to say to Twitter about it. Says, clearly husband is abusing. She showed the text, but no but should be in there. This is where he goes. Amouranth herself has scammed so many guys online, claiming she was single for years. These Twitch streamers don't care about their viewers. They all just use you and your low IQs to fill their pockets. Also, Amouranth for years Amouranth for years for being got praised for being a genius businesswoman. Based on this new information, the hidden husband behind the scenes was the one making all the business moves. So I don't think he was making all the business moves. I think he was like leeching off of her. She was literally doing everything. Like, you think that he was on stream with her? Absolutely not. Like, she's the one that's doing it. It's her face. I think with her hiding the fact and successfully hiding the fact that she's been married this long is actually a really good, smart business move on her part. Because this is the whole point of working in the sex industry, is to always to appear single but never be single. Like, that's the whole point. The whole point of being an entertainer and being this is to not hook up with your income. You guys think these guys thinks that this is a scam that women do, but they walk into this without doing the proper research, or it's like somebody going to a new job and saying like, yeah, I want to do this, this, and this, and this, but then they get to the job and they end up getting really hurt because of it. And then they sue the company. Like, did you not have the proper training? Do you not understand how this thing works? Like, you can't just go to a strip club and expect the girl to want to do everything with you and be with you, and your money's going to get you more than what the place offers. So yeah, and if you wanted anything extra, usually it's it's usually on the side, and it's not anything to do with the business. But like with this content creation streamer type thing, like this is exactly what these people are supposed to, these entertainers are supposed to do. They're supposed to appear single but never be single. It's part of the industry. It's part of the sex industry. That's why people, you think that these porn stars that are out here making movies and stuff and films, like they're really living this, I sleep with my, stepdaddy, and I sleep with my stepsister and all that. Like, you really think that that's what's happening in real life with them? Like, they don't have an actual life outside of this, that this isn't their job? These people really think like, they get so attached to some of these stars and these porn stars where they think like they have this relationship with them, and they think that, that they're doing things just for them, and they're not realizing that this is their job. Like, they get on, these porn stars get on set, they practice their lines. There's more time in the porn sets that is there to get the set set up, get the whole area, the location set up, get the lights, everything set up. And doing the lines, running the lines, and recording the lines takes a lot more time than the sex. They usually leave the sex for like 30 minutes at the end of the day, when everything else has already been done and shot. Even stills, what they call stills or pretty girls, the pictures of everything that you see on like the front or the backs of the porn DVD cases, those they'll pretend like they're having sex. They'll not actually be having sex, or they'll just like stick it in really quick, and they'll stay there, and they'll stay and they'll pose for the pictures. So those are what the pictures that are on the back and the front for. So, a lot a lot of, like I said, a lot of the sex stuff waits at the end. So usually they'll take like 30 minutes at the end of the day when everything's done and filmed to do the sex part. They usually have about 2 to 3 cameras so that they can have multiple angles. And also too, they'll do the soft core and then they'll do the regulars. So that way, like if they want to get on Showtime or HBO at late at night, they'll do 2 different versions of the same sex scene, one without penetration, one with penetration. So that whole thing, like it's just all acting. And then once they're done, they go home, you know, they take a shower, they hang out with their friends, they do whatever, you know. It's just like a regular work day, an 8 to 9 hour work day. It's literally the same. There's no different. But then these guys on here think like, oh, they lied, they schemed to us. Like, you think that your favorite porn star isn't technically with someone right now? Like, they have a life too. Just because they go and have sex for work doesn't mean they aren't attracted to people and can't have regular relationships, even marriages, even families. So it's just gross to me that these guys around here, or these, you know, people on Twitter, were like disgusted about the fact that she lied, when it's normal. This is what happens in this business. It's just how it is. Like I said earlier, you are to appear single but never be single, and that is the sex industry, entertainment business part. So it's crazy to me how these guys are acting like that. It's disgusting. It's gross. Let's see if we can find maybe a YouTube video about Amouranth, maybe. Amouranth. Let's see. Let's see. Speed dating. Some people are live about it. Looks like Papa Gut Hassan covered it. The abuse of Amouranth. Amaranth's situation is horrible. Oh, well, that's Moist Critical talking about it. World's Richest Girl reveals she has a husband and he is a total monster. All right. You guys want to watch like Moist Critical about it? Looks like I've already watched it. Huh.
This is one of those heavy situations I don't usually like to talk about. I usually aim for the goofier story. I'm missing like the hinge and everything, and then shows damage to a nearby wall, and then be that she's being abused because they're not a fan of her streams or the fact she has an OnlyFans. It's absolutely fucking despicable shit.
Exactly. Because I'm going to let you say what you think you heard. But then I'm going to say what I thought I said. But you can't edit your mind because I'm not going to interrupt you.
What are you saying? Why did you say you were going to kill my dogs?
Leave the house.
Okay, I can leave. You know what? Actually, I shouldn't leave the house because my dogs are here.
We'll take the dogs and leave.
The man's voice you're hearing on the phone that sounds like a 9-year-old getting his balls squeezed at the doctor during a physical with that helium-high, screaming, screeching voice, that's her husband, and he's melting down over an argument they had earlier. And I'm going to tell you what it's about, but you're not going to believe me. I watched the whole VOD, and I can confirm, based on everything I've seen here, this argument was because she didn't hear something he said. That simple. So he had asked her a question, she didn't hear it, and said, I didn't know you asked a question, basically. She said that, oh, you didn't ask me that question, but he believed he did. So her saying, you didn't ask me that, he took as a personal insult, and it led to this massive blow-up. That's what started this whole thing, because she didn't fully hear the question, so didn't know what was asked. And in response to that, in order to prove a point, he threatened to kill her dogs. Totally reasonable thing from a rational person. I'll go ahead and play his side of that statement.
Why are you pausing? You didn't ask a question. You said a statement. Did you say that? No? I tried to tell you what I heard. Did not say that? Or you're saying you did not say that?
I tried to tell you what I heard from you. And then you called me a liar.
Then you tell me, what did you say? No, I did. I said it on purpose. I said it to show you how easily distracted you are. There was no condition. You're lying. You're literally lying to me. I said this. Stop. I said, you're going to tell me what you said? And if you lie or interrupt my part, I'm fair dogs. That's exactly what I said.
So Big Bang Theory over here hatched the genius idea, a galaxy brain scheme, to prove that she wasn't hearing everything he said. He then threatened her dog's life. His whole chess master checkmating move here was, I'm going to threaten your dogs because I know you're going to focus on that as opposed to the other stuff I've said. you know, the same response everyone would have, right? Oh, you're not listening to me? I'm gonna go kill your dogs. Oh, well, you heard that? Weird.
Which is absolutely not a regular fucking thing to say. It's disgusting what he did to her. So absolutely disgusting. Let's see what else. They've got
Other conversations, but in response, she had her shit broken by him and had her phones taken away by him.
Literally got physical with me. And then like fucking tried to take my phones away because he was gonna destroy my PC when I recorded it. Now he's just trying to say bullshit because he knows he fucked up. He just admitted he was lying. Fucking asshole.
So she tried gathering evidence on her own. It was destroyed. She tried calling the police. Apparently that didn't go super well either because he took her phones away. Like, what the fuck else is she supposed to do? I think this was a very good course of action here and publicly airs it all out so that way this can help her in her case in getting away from him. Now, he didn't know this was being streamed, obviously. He was under the impression she had stepped away to take the phone call, but she came back after, I'm guessing, the threats against her dogs and just unmuted and did it publicly. And I do think it was a good, I think it was a good decision.
I'm just redrafted. Let's just send it now.
What are you sending?
The false fucking swatting of your husband. And then having your fucking assistant do it too.
You literally tried to take my phone. I got scared because you got physical, and I called.
Yeah, but I'm tweeting it now, so.
But so you're lying on my Twitter. That's gonna look real good.
Whatever. I don't care. I'm tweeting it. I'm Amouranth's assistant. I'm Amouranth's husband, and she is swatting me and calling the cops and calling it a false abuse claim.
I didn't say you abused me. I called the cops because you literally chat. You literally were on top of me trying to take my phones from me. You're literally just lying on my Twitter.
Yeah, I don't care. I built Twitter.
You used my body to build this empire.
And I'm gonna get your OnlyFans banned too.
So here he is admitting that he was just going to lie about a story to ruin her career and then get her OnlyFans banned as well. So you can clearly see.
Tell
that
me
he had
that
access-
is not some fucking manipulative, abusive shit from a dude. Like, that is the most grossest shit. Shit makes me so angry.
to all of her shit. And a lot was revealed here. The reason why Amouranth wasn't more public about her marriage is because he didn't let her.
I'm going to tell people that, like, let's just stream together. Just tell them that we're fucking married because it's like our relationship is better. We just stream it. We don't have to fight all the time. No, Mister, don't say that because it's gonna ruin the business model. It's not time yet. Fuck yourself. I'm done with it.
The reason why she started doing hot tub streams and committing the hot tub streams because he forced her to. So a lot of this shit came out about how awful of a person this guy is and how controlling and how scummy and shitty he is.
It's literally, I was waiting for a response. You were just calling me crazy then.
I didn't say you were crazy.
No. Dude, I'm gonna give you one last chance. I'm gonna irrevocably fucking destroy everything. I can tell you something that shatters you forever, and I'll start tweeting about it too.
But what? Why would you want to do that? I don't understand.
Because you are literally telling me I did not say something that I literally said.
That's what you're doing.
You're just right here. I'll tell you right now, dude. You're about to lose your entire fucking life in terms of everything that's been built because you're too obstinate to just merely accept that you didn't hear that. I'm already very forgiving of that.
This man is so insecure, sensitive, and embarrassing that he just keeps believing that because she said you didn't say that, he is taking it as an insult against his intelligence and he won't stand for it. He believes that she is calling him crazy. And she might not be calling him crazy, but I, as well as everyone else who has seen these clips, is. This man is fucking unhinged. He is crazy. This man is nuts. And he's downright dangerous, I would say. To be threatening the lives of his dogs, also makes threats against our horses about how he's going to sell them to meat packaging plants or some shit. Like, the man is not a safe person to be around. Now, one other thing I'd like to get into before showing some more clips is the brain-rotted take that keeps floating around about how this is all manufactured drama and it's fake for the sake of exposure and clout for Amouranth. And I understand why people like to take everything with a grain of salt. I think it's a very good thing to always really try and hyper-analyze everything to make sure that what you're getting is legitimate, which is why I'm so surprised that after doing that, people still arrived at the conclusion that it's fake. You'd have to be clinically stupid to think that this is fake. Because in order to reach that conclusion, you'd have to ask yourself, why is it fake? What would be the goal? What would Amouranth gain from this? And let's break that thought process down. Why would she fake it? She's already reached like the pinnacle of internet success. She makes over $2 million a month from streaming and OnlyFans. Like, that doesn't even count like merch or anything. So she's making plenty of money. So she doesn't need money. So that wouldn't be a reason. She doesn't need exposure because she's one of the most popular streamers on Twitch and most popular OnlyFans models. So that probably wouldn't make any sense. So why would it be fake? There's nothing to gain. There's only things to lose because now it's public that she's married. So that would be a detriment. Even though it's something she wanted to share, there are those delusional weirdos who believe that by donating money to her, they get to date her. Like, that's obvious. So this coming out doesn't help her in any way. There'd be no reason why she'd fake this for anything because she has nothing to gain from it. It's just a nonsensical take from people that clearly haven't thought about it for even an iota of a second.
I mean, like, we're in the house now. It's like next time.
Mostly just because of like men that other than men that don't think at all, but it's just these, you know, low self-esteem dudes that sit there and think that they have a chance and they don't. And so they go to the conclusion of, you know, like, they're just pissed off at her for lying. So they're like, oh, well, she's just doing this to more clout and blah, blah, blah. It usually when, yeah.
The fuck do you understand? What are you talking about? Like, fuck this. I'm calling you, so I disappeared from stream. Take a call. So I can't. Tell me I can't talk right now. We're getting Wi-Fi. I don't care.
You get the call now. Last chance, about to dump your luggage, from my hotel room. Throwing your stupid merch off the balcony, proceeding to ditch your stuff. You don't need the makeup or the live view, like the stream epic, or the clothes, huh? Deleting social media in 1 minute, buying options that expire and blasting the cash. About to shut down the bank account, your bank account too. Lag is terrible, stream is garbage. It's like, about to delete Twitter in 30 seconds. If you don't go, my phone's literally off, right? I'm just like, it literally died. Gonna donate $250,000 to Polo Missy. It's like a bird sanctuary he likes. In the next 2 minutes, 250K gone. We'll donate.
Pretty alarming stuff here. Just look at these texts. The man is draining their finances faster than a crypto bro investing in the latest shitcoin. Just blasting all their money down the drain, just fucking shitting it away because she wasn't replying to him in a reasonable time. It should be obvious that this isn't healthy behavior from a sane individual. But if you need more evidence of that, let's go later into her stream where she starts showing some of the house itself and some of the damage that he's caused.
Script of LUTH. You know what you are.
I would lock my door, but he broke that too. So,
Best advice I can give during my divorce my grandma gave. This too shall pass.
The phone from me. And so I ran in here to call the cops, and he literally kicked the door in and broke it. Like, this doesn't even have a hinge anymore.
What an absolute nightmare. And you want to know what's really sick about the whole thing? There are people saying that she absolutely deserves it because she does OnlyFans. Can you believe how fucked up that is? And also, a lot of the things people shit on Amouranth for, like pretending to be single to get money from simps or whatever, isn't even her idea, apparently. It's her husband, who is controlling every aspect of her life, it seems. He has access to all of her accounts. He's the one who comes up with her schedule and tells her what to do on stream and all of that. So a lot of the things that she gets shit on is actually her husband doing it, making her do it. And yet Amouranth is the one that has to roll with all the punches. And then once she turns off stream after being insulted all day by a ton of people, she then has her husband insulting her and yelling and screaming at her. Fucking unbelievable. The set of circumstances here are so incredibly sad. Like, just genuinely awful. And the stream ends in a really concerning way. I'll go ahead and play the ending of the stream to you.
Hello? I haven't gotten any calls. What are you talking about? Why would you ask if I'm taking...
This is a scene right out of a horror movie. The door's slowly opening up behind her, someone off camera asking if she's taken her medication. I believe it's her assistant, but even Amouranth is confused. Like, why are you asking about the medication? You know, like that's irrelevant to everything. So the assistant knew what was going on here, and for some reason asked about her taking medication, I guess implying that, you know, maybe she's having like some kind of mental breakdown. But that's a fucked up thing to even insinuate, because she's not having just some like mental breakdown. Her husband is yelling and screaming at her over an extremely minor issue and threatening to ruin her entire career over it. And making threats against her cause.
It's like sounding like a Britney Spears type thing again, like free Amouranth. Holy shit, this guy is crazy. Like, he's fucking psychotic. What if he is keeping her medicated, like super medicated? This girl, I feel so bad for her.
And her horses, like, this isn't just some mental breakdown kind of thing where she, you know, she's off her meds, so now she's crazy. Like, her husband has made a massive fucking threat, not only to her career, but the thing she cares about. It's a very serious thing that most people would respond to in the same way. She's just doing it live, probably because she felt like she was out of other options. So I think it's a really weird thing for her assistant to ask, and the door opening behind her, I think, is eerie. I think that is scary. She hasn't posted since this has happened. Hopefully everything's okay, but no one knows as of right now. But I think this is an extremely important situation to talk about, because for some reason, people are dismissing it as no big deal, which blows my mind. Like, this is a legitimate case of abuse on stream here. And I don't know why people aren't saying it as such. Granted, most of people are, but there still is a community of people that still think it's not an issue and that it's her fault. Why is she staying with an abuser? You know, she brought this on herself. If you're in a toxic relationship, just leave. All things spoken by people that have never even felt the touch of another human being. The absolute worst takes imaginable. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little
Exactly.
bit.
Exactly. I want to watch that little part again, because that was a good one.
That is scary. She hasn't posted since this has happened. Hopefully everything's okay, but no one knows as of right now. But I think this is an extremely important situation to talk about, because for some reason, people are dismissing it as no big deal, which blows my mind. Like, this is a legitimate case of abuse on stream here. And I don't know why people aren't saying it as such. Granted, most of people are, but there still is a community of people that still think it's not an issue and that it's her fault. Why is she staying with an abuser? You know, she brought this on herself. If you're in a toxic relationship, just leave. All things spoken by people that have never even felt the touch of another human being. The absolute worst takes imaginable. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the incels usually are the ones that are going to be out there complaining about that kind of thing, that, you know, she deserves this is what she deserves, she lied to us, she's a porn star, so she deserves this kind of treatment, blah blah blah. This is why women have to deal with being in abusive relationships and feel like they can't get themselves out. It's because of shit like this, people like that. You know, this poor girl has to not only deal with people like that saying that stuff to her, but then she has to, you know, get off stream and have to deal with her husband saying the same kind of stuff, and even worse. These guys are disgusting, especially the ones out there, the incels that are saying like this is fake and stuff. It's like you said, they're the type of people that never sat around and had the actual touch of a female before. So It's really, really sad what happened to her, and I feel so bad. I mean, I've never been in, like, you know, at least financially never been in her situation, but I can definitely empathize and understand what she's going through when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I feel really, really bad. And that's the hard part too, is like hearing that obviously she's working things out with this guy and stuff. Like, man, like I understand like feeling like you can't get out of something even when the world is screaming and everything around you is on fire and you still feel like you can't get out of it. I totally understand that and I empathize with her. So I just hope that maybe one day she will come to her senses and she will leave that guy, and then maybe she will peak even higher, which would be awesome. So, because I'm just recently finding out and learn. I mean, I knew about a girl that was doing the hot tub stuff on Twitch, but I never like watched it because I don't know. I'm just not, that's not something that I'm like into watching. But I'm not like, oh, I don't hate it or anything like that. But I don't know. I just think if she gets out of it, she probably would be really, really good. So really good for her and her health. So, okay. I am going to get myself out of here. We got about 12 more minutes left. But I'm going to probably get out of here early because I have not taken my potty break at all. I'm really proud of myself. I'm like almost 4 hours in and a cup and a half of coffee. Still no potty break. So keep an eye out for the clips that are coming out today. I always do shit with my hands. I'm like the Talladega Nights dude. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Keep your eye out for the clips today, this Wednesday, so that way I don't forget it. Joe Evans' show is going to be on, so if you guys want to check him out, you're more than welcome to. That'd be really fun. What else? Check us out on Rockfin. I'm pretty sure this week we're going to figure out how to get that thing running and going to be able to start uploading on there. I don't know. I'm going to do some YouTube research or some research on it today. Not YouTube research, but definitely going to do some research on it today to see what I can do. Probably talk with Warren to figure out what the hell is going on with Rockfin and how to work it. So definitely going to try to figure that out. Hopefully they give us like $5 credit at first. So that way we can upload videos without having to put money in it, but we'll see. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Feel better. I know. Right. Yeah. When I get off, I can when I get off here, I can text you because pretty much, or I'll give you a text in about an hour and a half. That way I can get all this shit out, clipped up and out of here before I start working on other things. So that way I don't have to, because by like, I get off of here at like 2 and then by 3:30, if I don't have a video up, I'm like fucking panicking. So I do like 2 or 3 clips, render those, get the thumbnails done and upload those 3 to schedule early. So I've got, the rest of the time to get the rest of the clips done. So yeah, definitely will be getting a hold of you later about this Rockfin stuff. So I think that's it. Keep your eye out for, like I said, keep your eye out for us. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you, Amber, for some of the articles and the videos. If you guys have anything that you're wanting me to talk about on here, please feel free to send it to me. You can get a hold of me on Twitter. Where is I do have my name thing up, but it's back here. So here, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here, the Jimmy Saves World, if you want to, or also I've got Image Productions. I don't really check that Twitter very often, but if you want to, you can. More than likely, it's the Jimmy Saves World that you will find me on. And then what else you can do? Warren's, if you're part of Warren's Discord, definitely more than welcome to go on there and send me a message about anything. Slack, if you're in the KRTD community, more than welcome to head over there and send me any articles that you think. I'm also on Facebook Messenger as well as Jimmy Sunderland. And I think that's about it. So if you guys have anything else you want me to talk about, just send it over to those things and I'll be able to do it. If not, I will usually find something to talk about. And I think that's it. I want to say thank you to everybody that came here today. We got Warren, Sherry, Shane, Ghost Start, Holly, I saw Dolores up in here. Yona, thank you for coming by, buddy. See, who else am I missing? The Willie Bragg Show. Remember to go check out the Willie Bragg Show over on YouTube and Twitch as well. I'll probably be over on the Twitch to go check him out. Definitely going to go give him a follow after I get off of here. Dolores, thank you for coming. Please, everybody, hit the like button on the video. That way we can get our algorithms up a little bit. Definitely still working on those algorithms for sure. Let's see, who else did I miss? Anyone else? Nope. Okay, I think I got everybody. All right. So thanks for coming today, and keep your eye out again, like I said, and I shall talk to you all at another time. Stay high. Peace.